Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I am your host, the Ranting Monkey, and wow, I didn't think yesterday's news could get any weirder, but it did indeed, and we will talk about that in just a few minutes. Sorry I'm late, guys. I was eating, and then I was trying to get some other stuff taken care of, and I'm just not good at timing. Just not good at timing, apparently. That, and as I mentioned on Lords of the Night, I am the least professional monkey on the internet. That's just how it happens. I hope you're well. I hope everybody's having a good night. I hope you're staying warm. Why are people saying monkey? Oh, monkey. Did I spell it wrong? Oh, not the first time I've ever done that. I'm taking your word for it that I did, though, because let's go check and see. Hi, Nuts. How you doing, sweetheart? Dax will not be around until about 3 again. He had to work this evening. He'll be back to a regular schedule later on. No, I spelled everything right. Pete, leave me alone, peoples. I spelled it wrong on the Twitter. I'm just checking on myself because, like I said, I screwed the things up. Dave, how you doing, man? Dave's just getting his mic down so he can talk.
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. I got to ask, because you are more liberal than I am.
Yeah, of course.
And I tend to be a little harder on the liberals. What did you think of Northam today?
Are we talking about the thing that happened like 35 years ago?
Well,
or are we talking about the abortion?
No, the abortion one. I mean, if we get into it, we can get into that later. No, I'm more interested in. Did you hear his thing today where he said he wasn't either of the guys in that picture?
Yeah, I mean, my feeling on it immediately is that number one, lieutenant governor is like also progressive. There isn't some sort of like guarding the castle issue here, so an easy choice would be to resign.
Right.
But the second part of it is that just the way he went about it should also make him want to resign. There's an easy way to do this. He could have come out and said, "Hey, that was a different time. I totally, swear off all that stuff. I didn't realize at the time it was so insensitive. I have learned now, blah, blah, blah." There's a way to PR handle it, not you come out and you say, "Yeah, I'm really sorry for this." And then 2 days later you go, "Actually, that wasn't me in the picture."
It wasn't even 2 days later. It was like the next morning.
Yeah.
We're talking like, what, 14 hours later? That wasn't me. And then, see, that's not even the part. I think he needs to resign for one reason. It was when he goes, "That wasn't me, but I did do blackface as Michael Jackson in a dance contest."
So the actual quote was, he said that the other time I did blackface, I definitely remember it. And it's just like,
yeah, I'm like, what the
Jesus,
fuck?
man. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. This was 35 years ago. I don't actually think somebody needs to resign over some stupid shit they did 34 years ago. Don't want anybody to get mad at me. Because we're still
actually
beginning of the year. This 34 years ago, and he's just graduating college. He's still young. I've said this a couple of times now. If he had done this like last year, okay.
It'd be different, yeah.
But I mean, this was a long time ago. And yeah, you're right. He should have come out like, "Look, this was, I did this stupid thing when I was young. I regret it. I'm sorry." And oh my God, his handling of this, his PR of this is just horrible.
Yeah. The other part here that I don't think a lot of people think about, but I mean, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, it had to be less than that then. But we had like the Unite the Right rally in Virginia. And so this is
Charlottesville.
So this is just one of those things like for Virginians that just keeps sort of.
Wait, wasn't that North Carolina?
Was it North Carolina? I thought it was no. There was one in Virginia as well, I thought. Maybe okay.
Might have been. I mean, well, look, we're talking about
states that touch. Come on, but
we're talking about the below the Mason-Dixon line. So
yeah, it's just I think for a lot of these people, like they just kind of, which I understand, like states with a history of racism and stuff like that, you just sort of want to put it in the past, and then like this sort of shit comes up. The question does beg itself though: how did this guy survive GOP Oppo research?
Well, did you see Donald Trump's tweet about that?
No.
It was just a little while ago. He said, or at least I just saw it a little while ago. He said, the guy who ran against Northam, or who was it? Fuck, I forget. Whoever the Republican was.
Yeah.
Said, your Oppo research was horrible, just bad. They were, what was the word he used? It was malpractice.
Nice.
that they couldn't have dug this up. And seriously, I mean, Northam ran talking about how racist his opponent was. If they had dug this up and put it in front of the public, he would have won.
So good. Yeah, he would have lost bad.
Yeah, Northam, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. He'd be gone already. And then there's the clip of him not refusing to shake the black guy's hand, just refusing to acknowledge it was there in the lieutenant governor's debate from a few years back.
I mean, that happens sometimes though, in like situations, where you're like, you leave someone hanging and you feel sort of bad afterwards.
Well, sure. And when if they had that image along with the yearbook photo, I mean, he's done. He's just gone.
Yeah.
Real quick. Thank you, Christian. Hey, Monkey, your contributions to pop culture and common sense goes way beyond my contributions. I wish I could buy Dax, Jack, and Monkey a pitcher and a plate of nachos. Cheers from Canada. Well, thank you so much. And thanks for watching. I contribute to pop culture, really.
You are the stick in the river.
Oh, that's a scary thought.
So there's something to bring up as it relates to sort of today, though. So you know how like probably about 2010, really everything we did started finding a place on the internet.
Sure, yeah.
Wait till like the elections in 2050, when people are bringing up like, hey, you were on AOL Instant Messenger and you said like all N-words need to die.
Right.
Now defend that. And you're just like, it's going to get so horrible like in the future.
Well, I think we've gone way too crazy with this shit already.
What's the cutoff for you? How many years?
It depends on what the situation is.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
I could see 2 years. I could see 5. I could see 10. It depends on how they're acting now.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's a good question, because we were talking about her the other day between me and you. How many years have to go by before you're willing to vote for Casey Anthony?
Oh God, lifetimes, man. Lifetimes.
Okay. I mean, it does depend. It does depend on the crime.
Yeah.
Or the alleged crime or the social malfeasance or whatever. Yeah. So let's say PewDiePie. Is PewDiePie electable in America?
I think he is.
Okay.
Depending on the part of the country you're talking about. I don't think he could get elected in a super liberal area like Los Angeles or New York City. But if you put him somewhere in Texas, he could probably win.
I should state that I mean the question more in like a prescriptive as opposed to like a descriptive manner. Like, what's the time need to go by for a guy who like says the N-word on a live stream to then be able to be elected? Like, what's fair to you?
With the way he did it, I wouldn't have a problem with it now. But it's because he wasn't yelling it at some black guy that he was mad at. He wasn't using it in anger towards a black person. It was no different than if he yelled bitch in the way.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I do find it funny because, I mean, while I'm on the left, I'm not like hyper left or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember, and it seemed to get no traction, which I'm glad about. But Vice, and the coming up to the midterms elections, had a whole bunch of quotes from people that were running on the left, and it was sort of like it wasn't an explicit "don't vote for these people," but it was kind of like, here's the social autopsy of all the Democrats that are running that have Democrat challengers that that you can choose them instead.
Right.
Some of these people were just on the record saying like retarded.
Yes. Oh like, yeah, that's a big one these days, man.
Like, oh my gosh. Okay, that is retarded. The fact that you can, I mean, I think calling someone who is socially retarded, like in the medical sense of the word, like they have some sort of brain damage or they have some physical handicap, I mean, like you have a physical handicap, right?
Right. Yes.
So your walking is retarded because
it looks bad, man.
yeah,
It is retarded.
I mean, by definition, it is slowed. You know,
Yes.
I don't like. I understand some words have gotten used in like context of power dichotomies and dynamics and stuff like that. You know, like the N word. That was a word that was definitely used to like subjugate, demean, keep in line, and was reinforced long after integration periods as a reminder to people, you know, and it's a horrible word. I understand that. I understand why people take offense to that. We have never in this country, as far as I'm aware, like taken mental invalids, you know, and just beat the shit out of them or force them to like work at Goodwill for 29 cents an hour. You know, like it's just a completely different situation.
Let me get these real quick. Thank you. Nope. Northam is the guy who made a commercial with a Jeep with a Confederate flag chasing non-white kids. The irony is deep. And thank you, Christian Delome, who gave another donation with no message there. Thank you so much, guys. I remember very clearly a time in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, where the N-word, I mean, it was losing its power. It really was. And there were a lot of people saying it. Yes, even white people, and nobody had a problem. And then there was this shift where it's like, no, you can never say that ever. And then it started with other words, and retard was one of them. It's because you can never say that, and it's because we changed retard to mentally handicapped or the god awful handy capable bullshit. So we took another word, and it's like, this is a word you can't say anymore because it's about a marginalized group. I hate that fucking phrase.
Well, I think marginalized isn't a bad word, but there's no sort of like institutional system that is repressing really anybody at this point to any severe degree. But I mean, like for example, like SSDI came on board in what, like the 40s? And that was specifically for people who were sort of invalids, widows, or people who were injured in factories.
Yeah.
I mean, there seems to actually be a lot of empathy, structurally speaking, for people who are handicapped in the U.S.
Well, have you ever seen George Carlin's bit on this?
I love George Carlin. I don't. If you told me yes, I'll probably remember.
Yeah, he did a bit on how they were changing words. Real quick, thank you, Christian, again. Hey, leftist dude, were you ever this objective with Kavanaugh? Oh, we can get into that. Were you this? How did you feel about Kavanaugh?
Well, I mean, I don't know how I'm being that objective. I said Ralph should absolutely resign. I think it's an easy choice. I mean, Kavanaugh, it's sort of like a Bill Cosby situation with Kavanaugh. I think that when the first person came through, you know, you sort of expect mud, and then there was like a second, third, fourth, and then so I was kind of like, ooh, this is starting to stack up. And then one of the stories, you know, was like, okay, this definitely didn't happen. And then like the sort of weak defense on Kavanaugh, and then his deranged Senate confirmation hearing. Honestly, if you can, with regards to Kavanaugh, with his Senate confirmation, like that inquiry, that did not show the temperance of a Supreme Court judge. I mean, I think he sort of ruined himself just on that alone.
There you go. Here's the thing with Kavanaugh. If you think he actually did what he's accused of, I have no problem with you going after him. If you don't think he did what he's accused of and that he was just a drunk kid now and then yeah, I don't give a fuck. It was a long time ago. But there is a difference between wearing blackface and sexually assaulting somebody. I'm not saying he did. I don't think he did. But there's a difference there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's another question too that nobody ever, when we start talking about Supreme Court nominees, we're talking about the highest court in the land. The bar being very high should not be like a weird thing. You know what I mean? We do want the best of the best people being the ultimate deciders and interpreters of the Constitution.
You mentioned his Supreme Court hearing, and I know a lot of that was a deal breaker for a lot of people. That alone is enough. To me, I think he was so much more composed than I would have been.
I mean,
They
I
they
can
would have had
understand
to
that
bleep
point.
everything I said. I've been like, that bitch is
I mean,
lying. I
but
mean,
I mean, if you are going to be a Supreme Court judge, like I said, the whole idea of temperance. I mean, you are supposed to be able to hide your bias for a lifelong
yeah,
appointment. You
but
know what I
there's a
mean? And you
difference.
can't hide it for 2 hours.
There's a difference when it's you being accused, I think. And that's where I give him a pass on his thing. One, I don't think he was that bad off. I mean, he did get a little emotional. He raised his voice a little bit. He almost cried twice. But I mean, he's talking about him and his family at that point. So I
Yeah.
give him a little more leeway. I get what you're saying. Yeah, temperance
I
is
mean,
definitely a
if
thing.
did
We
you
we
did you watch the Neil Gorsuch confirmation hearing?
no.
Because so this is the thing. I think people only ever watched like the Kavanaugh hearing just because all the big stuff around it. Neil Gorsuch was just kind of like a throwaway. No one really cared.
Mhm.
But they were asking him a shit ton of like pretty pressing questions, and the dude is absolutely cool as milk the whole time. And that's why
Yeah.
it didn't make news because I mean they're grilling the dude, and the dude is just boom, 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 knock it all out.
Yeah, but
And
how
then,
many of those questions were are you a
oh,
rapist?
some of them like were going back on sort of bad calls from like 30 years ago. So I mean they were digging up some stuff.
Yeah, that's bad calls. That's not the same as
Well,
him being personally accused.
I mean, it was kind of some of them were kind of like, "Are you a racist?" and "Are you still of this opinion?" You know, and I mean, there's, I think Kavanaugh could have handled himself better. I mean, it doesn't mean anything now.
Fair
He's on the
enough.
Supreme Court.
But we were about to get into George Carlin. He's a much more fun
Yes.
subject. He was talking about how language was being changed, and
Oh, is this the
cripple.
weather person one?
No. This is God. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was because he's talking about manholes and person hole covers and how it's ridiculous.
I think that was a shorter bit he did in a later one.
Okay.
Because there's this one where he just goes into it and he talks about how like cripple is. I use the word cripple all the time, and people do not like the word cripple. You're not supposed to say that anymore. And he mentioned it, and he's like, "This is a word that's in the damn Bible, for fuck's sake. Jesus healed the cripples." And for people to be offended by it all of a sudden out of nowhere, and it's kind of like where retard came from. It just people got offended by it out of fucking nowhere because we were changing what words we were using to try to make conditions sound better. We're not. Yeah, you're handy capable. No, I'm a fucking cripple right now.
I think though there'll never be a comedian that does the stuff that like George Carlin does. You got to realize like that guy got locked up a whole bunch of times for a 7 words thing. After 9/11, the guy talked about how we all need terrorism in our lives because it's boring without it. And
in fairness to him, he talked about that before 9/11.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, like the guy had no barriers, and he never really apologized, and that's why he got away with all this stuff.
Well, he didn't give a shit.
People are such pussies nowadays. The moment you say something, you know, and you have like a media storm against you, and they go, "Oh, I'm really sorry," and stuff like that. I mean, that's why Louis C.K. fell off.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, if he would have just said, "Shut your fucking mouth, I'm a comedian," I honestly don't think that the whole like whipping out his dick and throwing in people's faces would have ever been a big thing. He'd just been like, "Oh yeah, like you didn't figure out that I was a fucking sexual weirdo through like my millions of skits I've done. Well, you're an idiot."
Have you heard? Not the one that got so much press, but he did another show right after that where he actually talked about the sexual harassment claims against him. And yeah, he made jokes about it. And if he had done that at the beginning, he'd been fine.
Yeah, I mean,
but everybody apologizes now.
It's the wrong answer.
It is. It's I'm a comedian. If that offends you, fuck off.
I mean, I guess there's a spectrum here. Like if you're Bill Cosby, you apologize. But I mean, there's a huge difference between like drugging and raping girls and pulling out your dick awkwardly on a date.
Well, in Louis C.K.'s case, the only time that they have a case where the women didn't either consent or just kind of sit there was the one where the ladies, he jacked off when we were on the phone together. I'm like, okay.
I mean, I do that like 3 times a day.
I mean, thank you, England DG. Not one of you, I suspect, has listened to oral arguments at SCOTUS or read any decisions. You probably should. They're very interesting. I read SCOTUS decisions all the time.
Yeah,
When they come out,
my co-host forces me to read them.
When they come out, I go read them. You can hear me talking about it on Lords of the Night all the time. That's just I read them. Yeah, other people should, but most people just get the headlines. And for the most part, getting the headlines is usually actually enough.
I've found the most interesting things to read from SCOTUS is always the dissenting, the dissent, because really they're going to attack all the agree points anyway. So if you're only going to read one thing because you're limited on time and you don't want to read 470 pages every single time the Supreme Court decides something, you can just read the dissent.
Yeah, for the most part, you can read even CNN. Go just read one of their articles. You get most of it. Yeah, there's times where they leave a part out in the news or something, but I read it just because I really enjoy that stuff. Yeah. It's a weird thing I have. The Supreme Court is very important, and I like to know what they're actually up to. That's not to say I will remember everything I read, because I have this fucked up memory thanks to the drugs I have to take. But yeah, usually when there's a decision, and not just some major decision, I read this shit all the time. Monkey, if you want to read story tales, there's a lot of good books you can read. I stopped reading a few years ago, not because I hate books or anything, just I don't have the time. Antitheist Penguin, thank you. This David guy is a feg. Well, there you go, David. Did you see Hillary Clinton's comments on this?
On Northam?
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually a good. I didn't see the comments, but I did see some people talking about how. Actually, I think it was you. You were talking about David Duke.
Well, no, not David Duke. Robert Byrd.
Oh, Robert Byrd. That's what I mean. Yeah. Because the whole mentor thing.
Yeah.
So can I tell you at least a little bit why I think you're being unfair?
Please.
So
well, before you do, let's lay it out for them. This is what I was talking about. They're saying that Northam, however you say his damn name, should have to step down because he may have been either in blackface or in a Klan outfit, because they can't figure out which one he is.
Apparently neither.
Yeah. And Hillary Clinton has come out and said he needs to resign now. Hillary Clinton was mentored by Robert Byrd, who is the last known sitting KKK member who served in Congress.
No.
Yes.
Asterisk there.
Okay. Okay. What? How am I being unfair?
So, have you looked into what he's talked about while on the floors forever? I mean, the guy's apologized dozens of times for the whole KKK thing, and we're talking not apologized right before his death. We're talking apologized 30 years ago.
Yes, and I've read his apology where he said the only reason he was in the Klan was because he was against communism. That was his excuse for being in the Klan.
So, okay, while that sounds ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
No. I'm gonna ask you something.
Sure.
Have you ever talked with anyone in the alt-right? True alt-right, actual Nazis? Okay, I've talked to a few of them, and a lot of them have definitely said they're not so keen on the whole white ethno-state thing. They just don't want socialism to come to America. So, I mean, I think it's a terrible excuse either way, but it's definitely an excuse that has
okay, wait a second. Time out. We're talking about what, the 1950s, 1930? I can't remember when this was, but we're talking back during full-blown racism.
Yeah,
this is a dude from
it's
West
bullshit.
Virginia.
I'm saying it's bullshit, man.
It was bullshit. It was absolute bullshit. So I don't think his apology was ever real. And again, it doesn't change the fact that he was, as far as we know, the last member of Congress who was ever in the Klan.
So the other part of this is that in the same breath, that he's dying out there, and you have people talking at his funerals. I think Bill Clinton talked at his funeral. You have the NAACP that pretty much did an announcement kind of glorifying this guy, pretty much saying that he was an example of stepping away from all this, and that the legislation he helped pass, helped a whole bunch of people. So I mean, this goes back to the whole question of what amount of time is penance for your sins.
When you refuse to admit what you actually did, I'm not going to give you a pass. Thank you, Christian Delome again. Progressive dude. His name is David, or liberal penguin. No blackface or pointy hats, just baseless accusations on M. I don't know what we're talking about there. Are you talking about the Kavanaugh thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Is this person saying that like Northam wasn't one of the people in the pictures? Are they sort of echoing his statement and saying the whole thing is baseless accusations? Because I don't think,
you know what. even if that's not him, he came out. His excuse.
No. Why'd he take that photo and submit it to the yearbook? Like, people?
Well, did you not hear the excuse?
No.
There was a whole bunch of this happened to a whole bunch of people, and their pictures just got mixed up.
Oh,
like, dude, motherfucker, okay, you never looked at your yearbook. Come on.
But hey, so I got a question for you, Monkey.
Sure.
All right. So we're back in high school. It's been so long, but we're back there. And all of a sudden we get our yearbooks. We're going around. We're getting each other to sign it. And all of a sudden I notice there's a guy doing like a fucking Heil Hitler, like right next to my picture on my page. What am I going to do? What are you going to do? Let's say the same situation happens to you, because I'm raising hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So would I. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I want my $20 back, and you will fix this. In fact, you're going to take all of these years' books back, and you're going to fix this shit if you don't want to get your ass sued.
Yeah, and this isn't even a thing where it was, like accidentally in the background. That was what the focus of the picture was.
Yeah.
And he didn't ever look at his yearbook and go, wait a minute, why is this on my page?
Okay. Can we start doing like the hypothetical defenses that should have been employed?
Sure. Let me get these super chats real fast. England DG, thank you. I hate communism so much that I wore my bed sheets and called myself a Kliegel. Then woke up one day and said, well, I want to join the party that supports communism, but I suppose that makes sense. Oh, well, you're not necessarily wrong. And nope, thank you. This was medical school, not high school. Sure, but I mean,
that makes it worse, right?
It does to a degree, I guess.
I mean, you're older, right? Like your brain doesn't really fully develop to like 25. Like he's almost at that range.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's
this also looks like it was at some party. This wasn't like that's how they dress up on Saturday night.
No. Yeah. Well, what if, so going into hypothetical defenses.
Yeah.
What if he was for Halloween trying to bring like race consciousness into the arena, right? Like, I'm doing this edgy performative art because I want everyone to think about like the repercussions of slavery on, the future generations of African Americans.
I think that would be a terrible.
You think he'd get away with that? No,
not with the big smile in that picture. Maybe if he looked somber or somber, not Sambo, somber. Or if there was something that made it look like it wasn't them having just the greatest time ever.
Yeah.
Because that dude in blackface is way too happy to be in that picture.
What?
I think the only real defense is, look, this was a long time ago. This isn't something I do now or something I would do again. We were just dumb kids goofing off. And there's people who get mad at me for saying kids here because he's 20 or 25. And you're okay. We were dumb young adults. A bunch of guys got together. We were having a couple of beers and we thought this was funny.
Yeah.
And he'd still get a lot of pushback from that, but there'd be a lot of people going, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's a difference in what the perception that your sort of peers are going to have, and then the perception that the public at large is going to have. Because number one, the public doesn't really know what to think that much. This is going to sound like demeaning to people, and I'm sorry, but really a lot of people do get their news and their opinions like sort of secondhand from a lot of people. And there's such a disconnect from actual politicians that I think if you had handled the apology correct, you would still have all the politicians, asking for his resignation,
Sure.
but you would have a whole bunch of support from the community, and you just sort of, you sort of wait out that out. You wait it out, and then you're fine.
Sure, yeah. England DG in chat, he says it wasn't acceptable then. That was the point. No. Sorry, that is a narrative that's going around right now. There's a lot of people who keep replaying this clip from Give Me a Break, where Nell Carter yells at the one girl because she has the boy dress up in blackface and how wrong it is. You'll notice in that clip, she also drops the N-word on national television. And tell me about how unacceptable these kind of things were. There was a difference back then between humor and being a douchebag. There are absolutely things that people would dress up as and ways that they would act for a party and just goofing off that are unacceptable in today's society. This idea that it was not acceptable is not right. It's not true.
So let's do a thought experiment real quick, because I think
Sure.
it's a good question to ask you. Try to think of something or a couple things you do today that, like, in 35 years, if your children or grandchildren, sort of found out about, they'd be horrified.
This stream, man. Seriously. Some of the things I say on here, I mean, one of my tag phrases on here is "shh, let it happen."
Okay. That's kind of like rapey a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. Right. And 10 years from now, I mean, if people get a hold of that, like, do you remember when Monkey said that? Like, man, I have a fucking shirt that says that. Yeah. So do you have anything like that where you think that,
So I like to say retard. Like,
that's a good one.
I drop it on my show, like, a good amount. And then I think the bigger one is, so, like, I drive like a motorcycle that's, like, not gas efficient at all, even for being a motorcycle. And then I drive a Taurus show. It's like the 400 horsepower version of the Taurus, and it gets like 12 miles to the gallon. Nice. So I think if those choices got to, like, my grandkids, they'd just be like, Grandpa, they had, like, cars that had, like, they have like 50, 60 miles to the gallon now. Why would you ever buy one of those? I'd be like, because it was fun and I liked going fast, and shut the fuck up. But I think like that sort of behavior is going to be looked at in the future, like, so selfishly. You know what I mean?
Oh, in chat, there's another one brought up. Me saying that women's vote shouldn't count. Yeah, that one might get. Look, there's no way I can ever run for office. There's too much in my history here. That,
you say that, but there is sort of this counter rev going on. I mean, Trump got elected.
Yeah, but the worst he said was grab him by the pussy. Look.
I mean, I definitely think, like, they didn't do a good enough oppo prior to him because nobody took him seriously. But I think that there was enough that came out that should have been disqualifying, and it wasn't. I mean, there's a lot of pundits out there, like guys who've been in the game for 40 years, have forecasted hundreds of elections. And all of them said, like, I'm not going to act like I know about elections anymore after this.
I think what saved Trump is honestly his announcement when he came out, and there was that huge media storm about how he called Mexicans rapists and murderers.
Some are good people. Don't forget that.
Yes. And any other politician in my lifetime, that would have killed their campaign right there.
Oh, yeah.
And Trump was like, fuck you, what? And I think there's a part of our society, a big part of our society, who is tired of apologizing because if you read what Trump actually said, he wasn't saying all Mexicans are bad. And actually, because there were a lot of people who came out, doesn't even know there's other illegals. Good point. But he does. He names other countries as south of the border. They just grabbed onto one little part he said, and he came out like, fuck you. And there's a part of our society that's tired of not just those sound clips burying people, but of people having to apologize for saying things, for talking.
So speaking of George Carlin, do you remember his skit where he was talking about Bill Jeff? He's like, Bill Clinton, Bill Jeff. Talks about like Camelot and Camelot and stuff like that. And then when he talks about it, he said, Bill Clinton was honest about being full of shit.
Yes,
And
yes.
I think to some degree, there is a large sort of marginalized, to use that word, group of people in America that felt politicians were just going to lie to them all the time. And that when the president came out on the campaign trail and he was sort of crude and rude and stuff like that, people took that as a sign of, genuineness, that he would come out here and he would say that, it's, oh, we finally have like a real person, not one of these robots who, everything is test market approved and everything like that. I think there's a lot of people that sort of liked that. Like it wasn't a bug, it was a feature.
Well put. Yes, it was. I didn't accidentally say this. I meant that. Again, I think that we've been so beat down with political correctness, especially. I'm not talking about the whole black, just in speech, just in talking, that people like, I'm fed up with this. Let's give this guy a chance who, says what he actually means, where, Hillary's every statement was calculated and he's just shooting from the hip. And I really do think that first pushback he got in him saying, fuck you, really, really helped him. I think that was what solidified him with the public.
The other part too, and I think if you look at this in sort of a historical perspective, because I remember all these times, but we had Bush come in, right, and there was sort of this building up of the neocon right. Like there was the establishment right before that, which was always sort of pro big business and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But wars really weren't on the table, and then so you had the neocon right sort of get established, and that pissed off a lot of Republicans. I mean, people probably couldn't admit this now, but there's definitely a lot of articles out there talking about the fragmenting of the right into like the neocon right, and then just sort of the evangelical, typical conservative. And obviously there's overlaps there, but there was a large amount of the Republican Party that sort of disliked the establishment. Mm-hmm. And then when you had the bailouts with TARP, you had the Tea Party start. And around the same time, if you look at the other side, you have all the Occupy Wall Street people. So, the guys that are, we're sick of the bajillionaires getting, tax breaks and regulation breaks while all of us are sucking dick. And I think at a certain point, the president chose a great time to just sort of harbor on all those sentiments that are just sort of brewing in the background of everyone's mind. I mean, I think he was honestly like a perfect storm. I don't think in any other real climate that he would have been electable. But in this one, I mean, he absolutely fit the bill. And you know what? People voted for him and they're pissed off, and that's their choice.
England DG, this actually goes really well with what you're just saying. There's a part of our society who's tired of the same issues over and over again. Go watch the 1979 GOP primary between Reagan and Bush. It sounds exactly the same as the 2012 debate, exact same talking points. Let's actually fix something. You're talking about that perfect storm. And this is something that makes me laugh. We always hear about Trump's wall. Trump's wall. Trump did not come up with the wall. Trump heard about the wall and said, this is an issue I'm going to run on. A lot of the things that Trump ran on were issues that other Republicans had ran on before and never did anything about, especially when it comes to Congress. They'd run like, we're running on the wall, and they get in there and it's like, okay, it's time to vote. Are we going to have a wall? And then they'd bail on it. A lot of the stuff that Trump ran on, like getting out of, what was it, TPP?
Yep, that's one of them. Also NATO.
NAFTA, all of these things. I mean, these are things that he just picked up from other people. They were populist ideas within the Republican Party that would get people elected, but then they would never follow through on. And whether you like Trump or not, for the most part, he's followed through on what he said.
There's actually, I mean, we have now a plethora of books from inside staffers, it seems. And all of them have said something. And I don't view this as negative, so I'm not trying to say it negatively. But what they describe as the president is a man who is kind of mostly entertained by the thought from the last person he saw. Which that's not like I said, like an inherent negative thing, but pretty much I think what you're saying is sort of right, is that he's out there and he's talking to people, and someone goes, "Hey, what about this?" Like, and they're just spitballing ideas, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, what about that? That sounds like a great idea."
Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, I haven't talked to him myself, but what was it we saw that with? There was an example in the news. Fuck.
Oh, I mean, you can see it in a lot of examples from his tweets and stuff like that. Like it'll literally like mirror time frames when he's talked to specific people,
DACA.
or he'll come out afterwards and say, "Hey, did you know?" Which is kind of code word for like, "I just got told."
I just heard. Yeah. I think it was DACA there that he was really hardcore on it, and then he had a meeting with some Republican or a Democrat congresswoman, and he came back and he was kind of like, "Well, on DACA, I'm not real sure." Now he's gone back and forth on DACA, and now he's offering it as a prize for his wall.
Here's I'm gonna cede some ground here, because I think that there's one thing that we're way too hard on presidents, just all of them, about.
Mm-hmm.
Presidents don't need to be subject matter experts in the topics they're discussing. That's why they have staffs.
It's like the captain of a ship. He doesn't know how everything works on that ship. He's not supposed to.
I mean, I do think, number one, like, his PR team is dog shit. Like, they really are. And like even someone like Ann Coulter, who in the past has really supported him, prior to this whole GHB wimp thing, but he's always seemed to have a bad staff, and for the longest time it didn't seem to affect him. Recently, like, I think it started to affect him, so maybe he'll look into that. Maybe he won't. I mean, the guy is a genius when it comes to certain things. I mean, like, he's an artist. It's like all the nicknames, that stuff is hilarious to people.
It is. And everybody, like, how he's calling people names. Meanwhile, the
whatever
people out here in the streets are like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, like, I'm a fucking lefty, and I think it's kind of hilarious. Like, can you imagine, like, going back and just, like, Obama coming out and going, "Oh, the turtle has something to say," like,
yeah, right.
Mitch McConnell, you'd been like, "What? Like, what is happening here?" I mean, I think when he leaves, there's going to be a certain level of that we're going to miss. Although I do gotta wonder, because I think you're going to give me this one. That Pelosi has him in such a bide, like, because multiple times he's like had to come out, and he even stuttered her name once. But in another one, he was like, "Yeah, who I just called Nancy." Like, he hasn't come up with like a nickname for her.
Well,
I think it's because he's agitated.
Well, there were, right before the shutdown, there was an article written about how much he actually likes Pelosi.
Just because she's like a hard ass?
I don't know. I didn't read the whole article, but that would make sense if it's somebody he actually liked.
Or maybe just respects, maybe.
Even something where it was like, okay, I'm not going to insult this person. I want them to work with me. And maybe he just hasn't gotten to the point where he's ready to just like, all right, nincompoop Nancy or whatever the hell he comes up with.
See, he can't use it now because we already came up with it.
Right, that's right.
Original.
That's mine, y'all. I'm just saying it. I that would make sense if it was somebody he really respected. Because you've seen that with like some of the people who are in his administration and then leave. I mean, once they leave and they say just the slightest bad thing about him, is like, "Oh, really? Fuck that guy," and just rips into him.
Oh man, he has surrounded himself. Well, at least originally, he surrounded himself with like the biggest sycophants in the world. Like, I don't even think that was his idea. Like, really,
I think it was.
You really think that like he just wanted all these people just like licking his toes? Because I don't think is he that kind of person? I don't know. I don't get that vibe.
Think he is. He wants people who are good at the job, but he wants people who are loyal to him. And we've seen this in his business practices. I mean,
you can be loyal to someone without being like a sycophant.
You can, but it depends on who that person is.
That's fair. I mean, these people might not be like talented enough to pull that off. I mean, that's true. I didn't think about that.
I think most people who get to that level, that's who they want around them, is people who agree with them.
Oh my, can we talk about Chris Christie's freaking
Oh
just
gosh.
vacation swirl all over the news outlets?
Oh
Okay,
God.
this guy got completely cucked by Trump
Yeah, he did.
for a straight year. And now this dude is running from like news outlet to news outlet, trying to dunk on the dude. Like, shut the fuck up, Chris Christie. It's the same thing. Like, can you imagine like Paul Ryan coming out now and being like, "Oh, now that I'm free, I'm gonna like do a little tell-all or something," dude? Like, everyone's gonna tell him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Christie. I mean, he kind of just disappeared and then came back with this. Paul Ryan. I think at least I would respect a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I don't think Paul Ryan. He was never like. I mean, in fact, they even what was it in fuck, what did that book? Team of Vipers, Pit of Vipers, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they talked about how there was like internal sort of not. They don't want to qualify everything as strife, but I mean, there was some disputes in the background between Paul Ryan and the president about to specifically handle some issues. One of them was like the Unite the Right thing, and I think like that's sort of what you want is like a guy who is loyal to you, but will tell you sort of when you're wrong, and you can maybe fight it out a little bit. But like that is not like Rick Perry. That is not Mitt Romney. That is not Chris Christie. That is not Rand Paul. I mean, like
Yeah.
all of these guys, like pretty much every single person he destroyed in the Republican primary process. Immediately after they dropped out or whatever, they were like, "Oh my God, this guy's going to destroy the country," blah blah blah. And then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, on like January 10th, all these people are coming back with their hands out saying, "Give me a staff position," or "Hey, I want to work on this committee." Like,
Well, again, I think that all goes back to the idea that nobody thought he was going to win.
I mean,
The only person in the country that thought he was going to win that early on, even during the primaries, was fucking Ann Coulter.
yeah. Did you see her recent thing on Real Time?
No, I haven't got to see it yet.
So I'm gonna white knight Ann Coulter here for a minute, and this feels bad. But there are all these people that so pretty much Ann Coulter went on the Bill Maher show Real Time, and she just threw Trump under the bus. She was like, the president hasn't done this, and defended her tweet, calling him a wimp and all this stuff. And Bill Maher threw some jokes there and stuff like that. And all these people on Twitter are like, "Oh my God, can't believe Ann Coulter, like, she's stuck up for him now." And then, now she's like being a bitch towards him and stuff like that. And here's my thing. Like, don't we actually want the posterity? I mean, like, I think Ann Coulter is absolutely evil, demonstrably. But don't we want an electorate who votes for people because they say they're going to do something that person wants, and then if they don't do it, to then have that citizen sort of hold them accountable by calling them, donating to someone else? Like that's the thing with Ann Coulter, is that she's actually being fairly linear in her thought process about all these policy positions.
Sure. No, the one thing you can't take from Ann is that she is consistent. She's not one of those people, for the most part, especially in the world of politics, who will change their opinion based on who the president is. She has what she believes in, and that's what she talks about.
Yeah.
And like I said, I haven't seen it, so I'd have to go through and see what all she's bashing that he hasn't done.
Yeah.
But I know she is really pissed off about the wall. She is.
I mean, that seemed, if I remember correctly, pretty much the biggest part of her argument.
Sure.
I think she also was not in favor of the tax break as well. So, which is weird.
That is weird. But yeah, again, I'd have to see her reasoning. But you're right. One of the things that I just talked about this with how he got elected is there's so many people, especially in the Republican Party, who get elected, and then it's like they're afraid to do what they ran on. And Ann is just holding him to that. And so, I mean, why
being consistent? There's no.
And again, like I said, that is predicated on the fact that I haven't watched it. So she may have been being a cunt, but that's kind of what Ann Coulter does, is be a cunt.
It's true, yeah.
She's a shithead, and that's what
I mean,
people like about her, and it's funny.
so I do gotta wonder about Ann Coulter is how much of like what percentage of a Poe she is, because there's certain things I think she's just saying just to be a provocateur. Like apparently she came out and said some favorable things about AOC's 70% idea, above 10 million. And so I'm like, what? Like and maybe her positions are just her positions, and they're not completely congruent with like the GOP platform, and that's absolutely fine. I have no issue with that. But I do think she just says a lot of things just to sort of get a rise or sell books. I mean,
I think you're right about that. I think she has she's not Candace Owens. She didn't
not that level.
She didn't just jump on it because she thought, oh, I can make money here. I think she has very real conservative beliefs, and she plays it up and uses language that she knows is going to get her in the news.
Yeah,
to sell her books.
And you know what? There's nobody, at least I've ever met, whose policy positions ever completely 100% line up with the party they're voting for.
Sure, of course.
You know what I mean? So
you don't want to talk to somebody like that anyway.
No, like you're like talk to the person. You're like, do you want me to just go read like LP.org's like website
right,
goals?
Yeah.
I get that.
Hi, Poppy. How you doing tonight, sweetie?
Hey, how you doing? I'm all rightish.
I'm as good as I get, sweetie. What'd you ask?
Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm used to doing like mic check before we stream. So
do your mic check right now.
Mic check.
You got like a little song you can do?
God no. I'm not saying in a very long time, for good reason.
I got banned off Twitter for 11 hours by my cyber stalker for sending a song. What song did you send?
Yeah, that really does depend, like if you deserved it or not.
My cyber stalker is great because she thinks I'm going to eventually ban her, and I don't block people on Twitter. It's just not something I do.
I know she even openly admitted that was a mistake on her part.
I know, right?
She's like, I started messing with him thinking I could get him to ban me and like disprove his free speech thing, and
that was her little buddy that said that, and then he blocked me.
Yeah, she said it too. She said it too.
I love my stalker because I just get to fuck with her because I know she's not going to report me.
Apparently, you have a whole group of people who are just trying to annoy you into blocking, and then realize you won't.
Yeah. Look, if you annoy me too much, I will mute you.
That's the worst.
I know, right?
Because then they're just screaming into the void. Oh god, it's way better than a block.
I find muting so much funnier.
Oh yeah, it's a catharsis, man.
I mean, what are they going to do? They can't see that they're blocked, so they can't go to their Twitter and go, "Look, I won."
Yeah, I never got that anyway, like the whole blocking thing, because I use the block very sparingly, but I do use it. I think I have like 10 people or so blocked. But it's like I'm not blocking you like because you have this awesome argument and I have to walk away, and the only way to walk away is like with a block. I'm blocking you because like you're calling my wife a whore and saying you're gonna like kill my children and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like you didn't win an argument. You're just an asshole.
I just don't. I don't block because I don't care that much. Twitter to me is for fun. Occasionally I'll get into semi-serious arguments and then I let it go and go about my business because I use Twitter for laughs. That's what I think it's there for. It's not deep enough to get into like serious topics.
No, 280 character limit kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, you can mention something serious, but then after that, just have some fucking fun with it. I don't get people who are going on like blocking sprees. There's so many people I'm blocked by now that I've never even spoken to.
Oh, same here. It's not just righties, man. Those block bots get used by a lot of people.
Well, yeah, I don't get blocked usually by anybody on the right. It's usually lefties on my side. So.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying like when it comes to me, like I'm blocked by a bunch of people on the right.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
like
sure.
Tara McCarthy, Stefan Molyneux, Nick
I'm blocked
Fuentes,
by both of them too.
Laura Southern. Is she still have an account now? But her old one, whatever, blocked me.
Have you
I think
seen her new video?
Lauren Southern? No.
She just put out one today, and there's a lot of people giving her credit for it, and I'm gonna have to go watch it. The title of it is something like "Why I Was Wrong on Immigration" or something like that.
Oh my God, is it clickbait or is?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
And
No,
Chad real quick. Chad, has anybody seen it? Is she actually saying she was wrong on immigration, or is she being a smartass? And with that, my co-host has joined us. Dax, how are you doing, sir?
Boy.
That is a wonderful answer to that question.
Hey, Dex.
Hey, Poppy.
hello, Dad.
Hello, Dave.
If you're in the stream,
He sounded so flirty when he said that.
he really did.
I gave the eyes too. So
Yeah, you did.
If you're in the stream, don't forget to shield your stuff over in the left because I am too lazy to do it. Oh, it's on your screen. It's probably the right. I pull out my chat and put it over on the left side of the thing. Yeah, for me, Twitter's just all about the fun. It's a place to go be snarky.
Well, the thing that confuses me is I'm blocked by a shit ton of people, and I don't understand. Like Monkey, you've seen me on Twitter. Am I offensive or anything?
I don't think so.
I'm very nice. I do ask questions, and apparently that's block-worthy for a lot of people. Like one woman that I asked a question. You know me, I'm fairly blind. I saw a little circle. There was a lady in it. I asked a question, and it wasn't anything to do with being trans. And then she blocked me and posted I was transphobic. Somebody screenshotted it and put it in there so I could see it. She said she blocked me because I'm transphobic. And I'm like, I didn't even know you were trans. What are you talking about?
England DG, thank you. Twitter, I guess people forget the definition of the word twit. We are seeing it now. You know, I stayed away from Twitter for a long time because that was one thing that did annoy me. I know they call them tweets. I'm like, those are twits, man. It's a twit. How did you come up with the word fucking Twitter? Anyway, there's something else I was going to talk about. I forget what it is now because I'm the least professional.
You want to talk about Casey Anthony?
Oh God, not Casey Anthony. I actually hate her. She's one of the few people I've never met that I actually hate.
Would you be able to stomach having sex with her?
No.
Really?
Wow, that's a first.
No.
I like I only bring this up because you know the new Ted Bundy thing is out and all these girls are getting mad that they want to fuck Ted Bundy.
Right. Yeah.
So.
There's a few her Susan Smith, for those of you who don't know who she is, look that cunt up. No, anybody who hurts their kids, I don't care how hot they are. No, couldn't do it. I would end up choking him in the middle of it.
Well, she might like that. I mean,
the way I do it.
Just think about it. She did have a whole bunch of duct tape in the back of her trunk. Maybe she's kind of kinky.
Yeah, I don't think that's what it was for.
I met Casey Anthony once.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. Right after her trial, she was in town, and I ran into her at a shopping center. It was weird.
Did you hit her?
That's what I was going to ask.
No, it was that weird mixture of like, oh, that chick's pretty. Holy shit, that's Casey Anthony.
Oh. And hi, Jack. How you doing, man?
Yeah, interrupting. How are you?
I'm well. Christian, thank you. Tell Flaky Guy, you're Flaky Guy now. Ann Coulter never wore blackface, and justice is still clean.
Yeah,
well,
chat is super bitchy over him. They really are.
I know. You inspire some...
I don't think I ever said that Ann Coulter wore blackface.
I don't think you did. It is amazing that you inspire some anger over here. I like talking with Dave. Y'all be nice. Dave's a good guy.
They're being... I was in there like, why are y'all being such asses? Like, really?
No, you know what I like? And sorry, I'm going to suck up to you again, Dave. You and I come from fairly different political viewpoints. But we just talked about several rather contentious political things, and we didn't have to yell at each other at all. We just had a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's cool. You don't find that very often.
It's 'cause people don't have a good amount of self-value, to be quite honest. I think that's what it is.
Random says, Monkey, we're not nice to you. Why would we be nice to your guests? You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. Jack, did you see Northam's excuse for his picture?
The wasn't me crap?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lazy.
You're not wrong.
I mean, not even trying. Not like, I was dressed in that because my mom said I had to.
My dog ate my homework.
Yeah, like you could at least put 10 seconds of effort in. That's pathetic. That's not even like it's not even old man lazy, you know.
Yeah, your defense is I don't think that was me.
The day after
doesn't that mean he did it at some point? Doesn't that mean he did it at some point if he's not sure?
He said he did it at some point.
Yeah, he said it wasn't this time.
Yeah.
This wasn't me in blackface.
That was the quote. Yeah, no, the quote was literally like, it wasn't this time because I definitely remember doing blackface that other time.
and he described it like Michael Jackson or something.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson content. That sounds worse.
Because that's relatively new, right? If you think about that.
Well, my question there is, because we talked about this last night on Lords of the Night. If he did Michael Jackson and he just put the blackface on and he went up there and actually danced like Michael and he wasn't trying to do it as a caricature, I don't really have a problem with it. Probably in poor taste, he probably should have just left his skin white, but that's not, that's not minstrel show. Now, if he got up there and was like acting retarded, okay, then you have a point.
I mean, I think you need to ask the Black Caucus about that one. I don't know.
Thank you, Christian. I have value, just not liberal libel. Jack rocks.
Thank you. I know.
Jack is awesome. And thank you again, Christian. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to go back to this, but now the rest of the panels here, I am blown away by his excuse. That it wasn't that time I was in blackface. It was these other times you haven't even heard of yet.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
maybe he was trying to get in front of the damage.
More times.
He was trying to get in front of the damage.
He already apologized. If he had been like, look, there was a mix-up early on, and when they were putting the yearbook together, that's somebody else. That would have been one thing, but to be like, I'm so sorry for this. Oh, by the way, it's not me. This is some other incident.
But just so you know, there's other blackface photos out there somewhere.
Yeah,
just so you know.
That's what it is. He's preparing for when the new photos come out. It's the worst preemptive strike in history.
God. And for when you said it was that's more recent, honestly, I'm not trying to be horrible here, but if it was a more recent Michael Jackson, he wouldn't have to do blackface.
Well, that's true. Yeah, but that would probably be considered even more racist.
Although I would give him credit if he had come out and said, look, that was a photo from a party. It was a weird sex game we were all playing. That was a chick in the Klan outfit. And she was playing the role of a slave catcher, and then we were going to bang. I could have respected that just slightly.
I agree. I think he could have been like, it was a weird sex thing. And a lot of people have been like, say no more, please.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, okay. I've been to that part of Pornhub. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's some weird shit out there, and people would be like, all right, he's just got some bizarre fetish. Okay, that this was a private moment where at an orgy and things got out of hand. Fine, I get it. But just to be like, nope, not this time. Wait till you see me in my Michael Jackson regalia.
Okay, we had at 8:00 on Thursday night or Friday night, he comes out and says, yes, that was me. I apologize. At noon the next day, that wasn't me. I'm still stuck on this part. Would you guys know whether or not that was you in the picture?
Yes.
Depends on how drunk I was.
Yeah, I agree. I don't drink anymore, but I've gotten pretty fucked up back in the day.
Yeah, me too. Like I barely drink ever now, but back when I was in my early 20s.
You see, it's either he was really drunk or he's been to so many Klan rallies that he just cannot remember which time he was in the hood and which time he was in the blackface.
Yeah,
That could be Senator Byrd. We don't know.
I just love that. I don't think it was me.
He's done it so many times. He's confused about which one is him.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not hard to not hurt your case after the fact, but
Right.
just like the president, this guy's got a really crappy PR team.
I don't think his PR team is involved in this
at all. They just walked away.
No, fuck it, we're done. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. First was Michael. Second must have been Sammy Davis Jr. Probably at the time. I just such a stupid fucking thing. He claims he's not racist in the photo.
Oh, by the way, can we covered it really briefly, but the lieutenant governor, and I'm only saying his race because it is sort of relevant with the story, is a black progressive young guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if he resigns, that guy is going to be governor.
He's not doing this for the party, though. He's doing this for him.
That is definitely a true statement, Monkey.
Somebody asked on our show earlier, why should he resign? I mean, he should just ride it out. Well, if he cared about the party at all, the reason he would resign is because what he's doing right now is forcing them either into a recall or into a impeachment. I don't know the
specific state constitution law and recalls.
Right. Yeah. I'm not sure what their procedure is, but he's going to force them into that, and he's going to end up losing his job anyway.
The longer this plays out in the media, the worse it's going to be for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then what happens is he'll run in. I think theirs is every off year, so their next election will be in 2022.
So it's already doing some damage though, even outside that. So Tulsi Gabbard straight up announced her presidency today.
Yep,
and it was completely overblown by continuing news about Ralph Northam.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so, this is bad. There's a major election coming up in 2020, and if this lingers in the headlines a lot longer, it hurts all of the Democrats, and they all know it, and he's busy giving them all the middle finger while going and buying some shoe polish.
God damn it, man.
I'm not wrong. Look at that.
No, you're just making me laugh my ass off, dude.
That's what Jack does around here. Don't forget his reptilians.
Dude, how could you forget the reptilians? Clearly, they're the ones that were sitting on this photo.
You know what? He wore the blackface because he didn't have his white face reptilian thing.
Yes, there was probably some mice running around. That's why he threw the hood on in an emergency. They had it in storage. They're not really Klansmen. They're reptilians in disguise, obviously.
People are asking about who smacked their mic boom. It was me. Sorry about that. Oops. I keep doing that since I have the longer boom and it's in a different spot. Yeah, it'll get better, guys. Give me a few weeks to get used to it.
That's what he tells Lady Monkey every weekend.
Why don't you get like a wall-mounted swing boom arm?
I could, but all I needed was a longer one, and this one works. But where it's positioned right now, I just keep hitting it. I'll get used to it. That's all it is. And mostly it's the it's actually the fuck. What are these things called? I don't even remember.
The pop filter?
Yes, thank you. I keep hitting the pop filter where it runs. I have to run it under it so I can see both of my screens.
Don't look for pop filter.
I'll get it fixed, guys. Remember, least professional monkey on the internet.
I don't think anybody's arguing that.
I'm reminding them. All I needed was a longer one. Thank you, Random, for quoting me there. The weird thing about this will blow over probably in a week and nobody will remember it.
Well, unless another photo comes out where he's in blackface dressed like a cowboy and he's chasing Elizabeth Warren around.
That's the other one we didn't even talk about, because Elizabeth Warren has come out and said he needs to step down.
Yeah.
And like, bitch, really? She said this on the same day that she sent another apology to the Cherokee Nation for the bullshit she pulled.
I don't think she's apologizing all that hard.
Not really. No.
Well, she shouldn't be apologizing anyway.
Oh, yes, she should.
Yes,
No.
she should.
If
Yes.
he
No.
has to apologize, so should she.
No,
Why-
no,
why-
no, no.
why shouldn't she?
We opened with this, Monkey, is you don't apologize.
Okay,
Oh.
but
Then the Oppo
she
research loses it.
pretended to be a Native American to get into college. Like, that is fucked up.
No,
Well,
she didn't.
Not to get in. No.
No. Because there's a lot of disinformation that goes about it. People think that she claimed grants or something like that. No, here's what happened. When she went to go work at Harvard, on her thing, which was 6 months after she was accepted, she wrote that she was Native American. And then it was then used by Harvard in a essay in like 1985 to talk about their diversity and inclusion. And that's how it was pulled up. There's
Okay.
no proof that she took any money or got any sincere benefits out of any of this. So I
Real
mean,
quick.
no, she shouldn't have to apologize.
Thank you,
Screw that.
John M. Donation drive-by, going to listen to Lords of the Night. Thank you for stopping by, bud. But she has claimed the Native American heritage, and she was dumb enough to go take the DNA test, which, by the way, may be the dumbest move of 2018 politically.
Well,
Yes.
taking it's not the problem. Posting it was.
No, taking it was absolutely the problem because,
It was going to
There-
leak anyway.
well, so the president sort of trolls her a little bit. Everyone gets a laugh, and then it kind of dies down. And then she brings the meme back by
Yeah.
getting it tested. No, that was so stupid.
And Anthony points out, yes, she did. There was the cookbook Pow Wow Chow.
Okay.
That was using it a little bit. But if I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying about not apologizing because you're right. Then either own it or don't.
What if she gives 1/24th of an apology?
I still think, and I said this last. Again, thank you again, John. No message this time. That Northam should just have his DNA checked and see if there's any African American in there.
That's not going to make it better.
If he has any, then it's not blackface.
Yeah, it's still blackface.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, you can't get away with that these days. No, this isn't a Spike Lee movie like Bamboozled, where Damon Wayans had
So-
blackface on. No, that's terrible.
So where, because I mean, like the actual thing is like she's like 164th, right? Where did the whole
No.
like one? Yeah, because it's 5 generations. I just did the math on my calculator.
It's 5 to 10 generations,
Oh,
and the generation back is not full-blooded anyway.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
claims that like her great grandma was like partially Indian, but see, she also told stories like that. Her dad and mom had to hide their love because her mom was so Indian. Like
I don't know.
your
You
mom's
know-
whiter than you are, woman.
So a question here though.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some like oral tradition and family lines where they talk about bullshit like that. So
Okay.
I mean,
But once you become an adult and you look in the mirror, you're like,
Yeah.
God damn, I'm white. I mean, come on. I mean,
Well, I actually am part Native American, but I am white as fuck, and I say I'm white. Like, I don't say I'm Native American. I will say I'm part, but because
I
I wasn't
want-
raised with them and
I
I'm
want a
white,
DNA test right now, Pocahontas.
I do not trust spitting. Well, first, I hate spitting, and I don't trust my DNA with anybody. So no.
the in my family lineage, the way it's been explained to me, I am about a quarter Indian and 3/4 Irish, and I don't look Indian at all. My mom did.
Yeah, I don't.
My older brother did. My younger brother's as white as I am. There's obviously it's in our blood somewhere. But I would never go out there and be like,
Mm-mm.
I'm a quarter Indian, and my mom had to hide with my dad because grandpa was going to kill her because she was an Indian to make racial point.
Where did you hear that? Because I haven't heard that one. I mean, I'm not
haven't heard that?
discounting
Oh, yeah,
it. No.
God, let me find the story.
Monkey, check your DMs.
Thank you, sir. I will check that in just a
I do want to take a look at it because I have not heard that, and that would definitely change my perspective on her if she really told that to like a group of people or something. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I will find that one.
Which
I
one
mean,
was-
yeah, no rush. So what are your thoughts on Kirsten Gillibrand?
I think she has about as much chance of being president as I do. I think she's made too many mistakes, and she's
So who do you think is going to make the primary in 2020 for the Dem side?
I think Cory Booker is going to be the
Okay.
candidate.
I think it's funny how much the left is sort of fracturing already with all the people. I mean, I like don't help this cause at all because I just shit on Tulsi Gabbard constantly because I think she's an Assad stooge. But yeah, like no, I'm seeing all this stuff about like Kamala Harris, like Kamala the Cop Harris.
Oh yeah, they're going after
Oh
her
my gosh.
prosecution.
Oh dude,
stuff.
like, there's a whole bunch of like woke Twitter accounts that are calling her like fake black and stuff like that. So that's super cool. And then
Nice.
yeah, and then you got like creepy Joe Biden where everyone's like resurfacing like Pizzagate memes about like Howard Schultz, scarily enough, being the independent is probably like the least touched candidate so far, outside of the fact that he is universally hated by both parties, which may be the reason why they're not actually really trying to attack him so much.
Here's a story from the Washington Times where they talk about it. The original statement was apparently on Fox News. Actually, she was on there. I've said it was going to be Booker. Ever since I saw his Iowa speech, I was leaning towards him anyway. And then somebody said, "Go check out his Iowa speech 3 months ago or so." And he's got the story. I mean, this is a man, whether you guys like it or not, this is a man who ran into a burning building to save people. So anything that, because people have talked about, well, he cries or he gets a little emotional. This is a man who ran it. No matter what you say to try to make him sound like he's, a wuss, he ran into a burning fucking building to save people.
No, he ran in there because his reptilian nature said it's warm in there and there's snacks cooking. Yeah, no, not buying it.
But then I watched his speech, and this is there's no teleprompter. It's obviously it's a speech that he's, worked on, but he delivered it so well. It reminded me of Obama with his teleprompter. If you ever saw Obama without his teleprompter, he wasn't that good.
He was good towards the end. His first couple of years, he definitely wasn't good. He wasn't good with teleprompter in the first 2 years. Then he sort of came into his own.
Well, there was a lot of talk about what great speeches he gave there at the beginning, even.
I mean, a lot of that was like John Favreau, though, like of Pod Save America, because he was his major speechwriter.
Yeah, I never thought he gave great speeches. But I was watching Booker give this speech, and he gives a really good speech. Sorry, white people, you are not going to be the Dem nominee. None of you. And not just because you're white. Most of you suck, too. Harris is too boring. I don't even think her prosecutorial history is going to be that big of a problem. I think she's just boring as fuck to listen to. And she does kind of come off as Hillary 2.0 right now.
Kind of elitist. Elitist establishment
mostly, yeah.
Okay.
And I just think Booker's going to kill her in the optics when it comes to who's more exciting, him or her, and it's definitely him.
So I have a question for you, because I said this, I think now 3 years ago, because I talked about how Trump was going to probably beat Hillary, and I was sort of being joking, and I said and the reason why Hillary didn't win against Obama is because America is actually more sexist than we are racist. Do you think, and I'm kind of joking about it, but there's a little nugget of truth. Do you think that plays in at all? That there's a certain subset of people that don't want to have a woman be the face of America on the global stage?
There's probably some. I don't think it's enough to make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Because I've heard that argument. There was actually an argument made just recently. Real quick, Poppy, that's entirely up to you, sweetie. Over Black Panther, this guy, he did a fundraiser to send black kids to see Black Panther.
Ugh.
And he set up this fundraiser, and he hit the goal, and it blew the goal away. And he set up another one for them to go see Captain Marvel, to like little girls go see Captain Marvel. And it hit the goal, but it really hasn't gone over. So there was a story written about how sexist America is and that they're more sexist than racist. I'm like, no. One, we already had a major female superhero movie released in the last few years.
And it was the only good one.
Yeah, especially
I think we're all undermining Supergirl from 1984.
Oh my gosh.
shit.
Ellen Slater looked hot in that outfit.
Okay,
She
so
did.
I'm a bounce and let him come on. So I'll see y'all later.
Okay, bye,
Bye,
Poppy.
Pop-Tarts.
Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Dax, will you shoot him the link?
Already on it.
But two, I mean, we had the major one there, but this guy hit his goal, and there was so much more press around Black Panther than Captain Marvel's getting, especially for the race aspect of that versus the
Female
aspect of this. Yeah, so I think there's things that we look at where it looks like maybe race or sexism is more or a bigger problem than racism. I don't think that's the issue. I think one, Hillary was a horrible candidate. Her both times, I mean, her basic thing was it's my turn.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, I mean, if she was more exciting, I think she would take the nomination with no problem. But she is boring as fuck, man.
So
And
have you listened to a lot of Kirsten Gillibrand?
Only when she's been on the news.
I was gonna say I saw her lay out, or I mean, I listened to her lay out her entire platform on a special PSA, and I'm like, damn, I don't know. Looks nice now. I mean, I'm not really getting behind a candidate until sort of all the Oppo research comes out.
Sure, yeah.
You know, which I think is like a safe bet. But I don't know. I like fuck Tulsi Gabbard. Number one.
Well,
Okay.
she
yeah,
no doubt. But no, Gabbard, she's trying to do it too quickly. We do not elect representatives. We don't.
Well, I think she thinks because she's hot, she's got an in.
You would be
She
right.
has a lot of qualities that should make her a decent candidate. She's got the military record. She's got foreign policy that would go over well with
Hell no.
moderates.
I'm a moderate, and hell no. Dude, she's pretty much a goddamn isolationist.
Sexy isolationism.
God damn you. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. Just keep Kamala Harris away from any more Wakanda Forever ads. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's Gabbard is just trying to rush things. She should run for the Senate or run for governor and then try for the president. We just don't elect representatives.
Is there really a thing anymore? I mean, we elected a non-politician. I mean,
Yeah.
do you think we're ever going to return to normalcy? I don't. I think.
Well, there's a different. I mean, you still have somebody who's the head of a major company, and he's also been
had brand recognition, pretty much.
Yeah, this is a dude who's been in the fucking public conscious since the '80s. For fuck's sake, I mean, been in movies.
Home Alone 2.
He had this really popular television show. I think he's a different thing.
Yeah, but I mean, let's put it this way: do you think someone like AOC already has brand recognition and could run from a representative level and at least get to like the debate margin? You know, like that 15%. Because I think she could. But I do think you're right on the idea that you do have to have brand recognition. So, I mean, that's a good point.
It would depend. And here, this is what I mean by that. Somebody like her, sure. Her specifically, no.
Well, we're not talking about a general here. We're talking about like 15% in a caucus. Somewhere.
No, I understand what you're talking about. But the party would bury her. This is something, guys, you have to understand this when it comes to elections. It's usually not the other party that ends up burying a candidate. It's the own party. They do that in the primary.
Mhm.
And so much shit gets dug up that they just bury each other as they try to get to the top. Now, what AOC has done that has really fucked her is said that she's targeting people's seats to try to get more progressive people in those seats. And you've already had a couple of Democrats come out and say, you know what, we're going to take her seat.
So Price came out about that already, by the way. So it should be said, just to clear any of the cobwebs away on this thing. What is it? The swing left subset organization that she's talking about, they are targeting pretty much Dems in safe seats that are not signing on to things like the Green New Deal and stuff like that. They absolutely have the full backing of the DNC behind that position. Like, the swing left and the DNC are not like opposing organizations. You know what I mean? Now, granted, she's not running at a higher level, so I mean, you know, maybe if she was making more waves, then it would be an issue.
But she started that before she was even sworn in. Real quick, Diesel Dave, thank you. Monkey, let a smart Davo on. I'll have you on sometime, Dave. We'll bring you on one day. Polly's coming on, so we'll be at our 5 limit.
Just remind us, Diesel. We'll get you on sometime.
Yeah. And Dave's smart. Y'all are so mean tonight. No, I think AOC has fucked herself pretty much going forward, and maybe if she shuts the fuck up, not about policy, they still want her doing that, and you know, getting on the stages and stuff. They want that brand, but I'm not even saying play ball, but stop telegraphing. I mean, you can say, you know, they're targeting people who are safe, but people would have thought that about Crowley.
Yeah, I mean, so
he was
I'm
the number 5 Dem in the House, for fuck's sake.
I'm gonna admit that I don't understand personally what the allure is with AOC, but I didn't understand the allure with, you know, candidate Trump at the time. So, I mean, I do think that the righties are making the same mistake with AOC that the lefties made with Trump, in that they're just giving him a shit ton of free press and making him even more, or making her even more like spot on brand.
Yep.
I think that there's some truth to that, but I also think that she's a moron. She's an absolute moron, and that wouldn't play as well. And the more press she gets, the harder it's going to be for the press to go, they're just taking her out of context. So we'll see.
Well, what she needs right now, what she really needs, is a big sex scandal with a little-known YouTuber that reads comic books.
What, Polydub?
No, me.
But do you remember what happened? What is it, District 19 with her? Do you know what happened with the debates with the person she was going up against?
With Crowley? Yeah, he just didn't show.
Yeah. No. Do you know what he did, though?
No.
He sent a woman that looked like AOC to the debate so it would like confuse people.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I know he refused to come back to the district, and he refused to debate her because there was all that
no
stuff.
one took her seriously. And that's the same thing happened with Trump. And now all of a sudden she's like this rising star in like somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere.
Well, I think she hurt her brand of Democrat by doing what she did, by winning and being such a loudmouth right now. Because the people you're talking about, you know, they're in safe seats. Well, they're not going to treat it like a safe seat. They're going to make sure any challenger who comes up, they're going to smack down. Because again, it cannot be understated. She took out the number 5 Democrat in the House. This man had been in Congress for decades.
Well, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, though, on the right side. There is that same portion on the left that feels the exact same way, though. They feel that, hey, you know, they've been electing these politicians for years now, that saying they're going to do things, you know, and then they get in there and they don't. And so there's a certain aspect of the voting population, I mean, I don't really know percentages, but that do want the areas that can go left, that are safe to go more left, you know, into the sort of Medicare for all sort of field. that they want that to happen, and that's why they're donating in Act Blue. I mean, Act Blue's gotten like millions and millions and millions of dollars already for an election that's a year and 9 months away.
I'm curious to see what happens with somebody asked who's AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as the election kicks into full gear, because she's not going to get the same kind of press she gets right now. Because
she shouldn't. I mean, she's already sitting in her job.
Yeah, exactly. They're just not going to have the time to cover her when they're covering. God, what do we have right now? 10 or so Democrats, if you count the little lesser known ones, and at least 5 majors.
Well, that depends really on whether or not a college yearbook comes out where she's in blackface or a Klan hood.
Hey,
that's true. That's true.
The college dancing video did come out, and that was supposed to damn her.
Yeah, I don't know how it was cute,
dude.
Yeah, but
the fucking Trump train, dude. That account is so dumb. Like, that made people like her more.
If after that dance she put on a Klan robe, that would hurt her.
Oh, of course.
So we don't know what happened afterwards. I'm not saying she did it, y'all. I'm just saying.
That didn't happen in the Breakfast Club, Monkey.
Well, so that's true.
We don't know what happened in the deleted scenes. Maybe there was a throwing the gays off the roof scene in there that we don't know about.
The Breakfast Club Islam edition.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what do you think of Omar? She's been getting a lot of shit lately. Do you think it's deserved?
So she's okay. I just did hit my mic. Now here's my issue with her is that she's speaking out of both sides of her mouth. Because she goes on, she just someone sort of, what are the words? Sort of clipped it together, but she went on like ABC and she's talking about how BDS is good and all this stuff, and the Palestinians, that they're just the most oppressed people in the whole world, and then she goes on another segment and someone asks her that question and she goes, well, I know that Israel is way better of a place and it's the only democracy in the Middle East and it's better than Saudi Arabia and what they're doing in Yemen or in Jordan and stuff like that. And I'm like, I think this person's just saying what they're being told to say. Like, they have a good PR team so that they can sort of post hoc defense everything she's saying.
Real quick, thank you, Bubba Hotep. I feel we haven't had a shill your shit recently. Guys, shill your shit over in the chat so people know where to find you and how to support you. You guys know where my links are to support the channel, and thank you so much for doing so. I think you're right. I think a lot of times she goes out there and she says what she believes, and then a PR person pulls her along. No. You have to be nicer to the Jews. Because, I mean, some of what she says just doesn't go together. And I've seen so many things, so many articles just today where it was like Ilham Omar is being targeted for being Jewish or for being Islam and or Muslim. And like, no, she's being targeted because of the stupid shit she's saying. Somebody needs to. Here's the thing: Muslims and Jews don't really get along that well. It shouldn't surprise anybody that a Muslim is on the BDS movement. It was so hard not to say BDSM.
So I'm actually, what was it? There's a Twitter chat that I was in. At first it was like BDS supporters, and then someone changed it to BDSM supporters.
Nice.
Yeah, which is great. No, I just, I do think that it's kind of a shame that some of the first Muslim representation we're getting in America, they fall into that same trap of just hating Jews. They just package it up kind of nicely.
I mean, it's unless there's a major reformation. I mean, it kind of goes with the territory.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but I mean, there's wacky Christian groups out there, and then there's the majority of people, and I think in America, at least speaking, they are raised in people who go to the faith of Islam or whatever are raised in such a different environment than people who are in the Middle East, that you'd hope that a more sort of, moderate person comes out the other side.
Yeah, but see,
you'd hope. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And I think that's what it needs. Some kind of moderate reformation. And if it's going to ever have that, I think it's going to come from people living in the West and fitting in. You know what I mean?
this bacon does taste delicious.
Exactly. You know, when people often bring up the whole Christian thing, and you know, there's Christians, and some of them are very fundamentalist. I can't remember ever seeing a Christian politician who wouldn't eat a bacon cheeseburger, but their Bible tells them that swine is disgusting too, that you shouldn't partake of the swine.
Well, so Jews aren't supposed to eat bacon, and
Yes,
I
there's
know Jews, and they eat bacon.
They eat the fuck out of bacon.
Yeah, and we're not just
So-
talking about like quote unquote ethnic Jews or something like that. We're talking about full
Right.
blown religious Jews eat bacon.
And the reason I bring that up is because of even in this country, the more moderate Muslims still tend to take their book more seriously. And sorry, Christians, you might get mad at me for this, more seriously than Christians do. Christians have that, you know, apologize to God and it's okay. Now, I don't remember if there's a part of that in the Quran, but I'm fairly certain you're not allowed to apologize to Allah.
The
He's
other
not
part,
like, okay, that's fine.
the other part of that too, though, is that Christianity has sort of reformed along the way with America developing. You know, so there's always this sort of generation that says, "Oh, this is wrong because it's in the Bible," you know, and we can't do that. And then society sort of pushes past them, and then apologetics come out for, okay, this is why you don't actually have to follow that, and this is why it's okay now. And there doesn't seem to be that sort of same driving force in Islam. In the West, maybe because at least in America, it's not a big percentage. So these people might sort of be clustering down and seeking a lot of their interfaith communications and interactions online, as opposed to on the streets and stuff like that. I mean, a thought.
No, I just think I know everybody prays. You know, we have the first two Muslim women in Congress, and from what I have seen, Islam has not come far enough to actually work with our system. And maybe there are moderates that it will, but I mean, they take their books so serious. They just take it so serious. Islam is a cult, not a religion. No, it's a religion. It's a religion. If you're going to use that stance, I mean, any religion is a cult.
I mean, I am of that. I'm of that persuasion to believe that
all religions are cults.
Yeah, I mean, well, cult is, when you look at it, like the root word of just culture and stuff like that. I mean, it's not as bad as sort of it's colloquially.
You know what
seen.
we mean when we say
I know.
cult.
You mean like
don't
death
even.
cult? But I mean, a lot of these things are death cults, man. We just don't want to say that because we don't want to offend people. We're so PC about it.
They're not really cults. They're reptilians, right, Jack?
You damn right. In Heaven's Gate, obviously reptilian cult.
Oh man, those fucking weirdos.
I mean, consider. So you've probably seen some Pew stuff on this, Monkey, but have you? It's like a quarter of Americans are pretty much supportive of Israel only because of the fact that that's what's supposed to kickstart, you know, the apocalypse and the rapture and stuff.
Oh wow, no, I haven't seen.
Yeah,
those.
so I mean. So there's definitely sort of this like death culty Armageddon-y aspect of just a lot of religions in general.
Come on, let's be fair. If we can have the apocalypse over there instead of over here, maybe it'll just be a regional thing. Well, saying.
I don't think that's how it's worked. Like Israel's destruction is sort of supposed to like bring in the end times.
You don't know. That book was written back when they didn't know much beyond Egypt. So it could have been just a regional apocalypse.
Yeah, they didn't know America existed.
Yeah, because like the global flood thing, they've proven there was a flood in Iraq around that.
No, they haven't, Ken Ham. Hey,
I'm not saying a global flood. I'm saying a regional
in the region.
Flood.
Yeah. There was a flood over there that it didn't last 40 days.
Yeah.
There's the story of he was a salesman. That's not the word I'm looking for, but that's what he was. And he got on his boat and he was out for a week or two. Yeah, there was a huge flood over there. The global flood, guys, for those of you who want to look into that, there's some sediment stuff that they talk about.
Yeah, that's all a bunch of global warming nonsense.
That's Ice Age stuff. How you doing, Polly? Merchant,
doing
yes,
all right.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I just stepped over you because somebody said the right word for me. Merchant. Sorry, how you doing, Polly?
I'm doing all right.
What are you up to this beautiful evening?
I was hanging out with some people over in Discord, and I was doing some photoshopping at the same time as your stream was playing in the background, and I'm just going over the things that you guys said over the past minute or two while I was setting up, like opening up a different browser to come in here.
Are you upset with things I've said? Polly gets upset with a lot of things I say.
I don't think upset's the right word.
Okay, well, you disagree adamantly.
No, it's just I don't know. You guys really went down the death cult angle. I mean, really, a lot of religions are death cults. You got fucking Pew stats being pulled out of our butts about fucking Armageddon starting in the Middle East. I mean, come on, Jesus.
No, it's about who supports it and why.
Okay. Like small fraction of evangelical, apocalyptic, eschatological Christians. What about them?
All I know is I'm within like 2 hours drive of that giant ark in Kentucky, so I'm safe. Fuck all ya. I mean,
and they're a little nuts, you know. At least they don't have control of atomic weapons like Iran wants.
Yeah, I mean, a major Islamic country having nukes would worry me a little bit.
You mean like Pakistan?
No, because Pakistan, they're British. Let's be honest.
It's all aimed at India anyway.
Yeah, but they were hiding Bin Laden for a while and not bothering to mention it.
Dave says Polly can come on, but not me. I told you at the time Polly had already been invited. He just takes his sweet ass time to get here.
I do actually have to go let my dog out anyway, Monkey. So I am gonna drop.
Oh well, cool. Thanks for coming, Dave.
But it was awesome being on. My channel's on the side, Insport and Podcast, and I'm glad you guys had me on. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for coming, but we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye, David.
Let us.
There you go. You can invite Dave on.
I feel bad. I didn't realize that Pop-Tart had dropped out because of timing and stuff. It's been like weeks and weeks and weeks since I've been able to talk to her, and I didn't realize she dropped out. So I feel bad about coming on. I was hoping she was going to pop over into VC.
It was her choice.
I know. I still feel bad.
Yeah, you're our blue light special poppy. That's what I just learned.
Yeah, I'm a poor man's Pop-Tart.
Check my Streamlabs.
Okay, so I got to ask you, Polly. Did you see Northam's excuse today, and what do you think of it? If you did,
I did not. I got
a Streamlabs actually involved in that real quick. Okay. Thank you, Toasted Network. Ralph Norton has always been will always be known as the nigger guy. Do you think the pro-life folk dug up the picture of Ralph Norton? Kirsten Gillibrand looks like a Walmart version of Kristen Bell. And have you heard about Kamala Harris not being black?
We discussed the not being black thing very briefly just a few moments ago.
He also wants to know if you're Jewish.
I am not.
Okay.
Not in any way, not genetically or religiously.
Also, thank you, Toasted.
What were the other questions?
Let me relook at that up. Do you think the pro-life folk dug up the picture on Ralph? Okay. And do you think Kirsten Gillibrand looks like the Walmart version of Kristen Bell?
No.
Okay.
I think Kirsten Gillibrand looks like a crack whore. I think it's far more likely that the left brought up those pictures to get rid of him after his accidental infanticide support, just to get him out of the news and get him out of fucking office, than it is for the right to have done it. If the right had those pictures, I mean, there was a reason to go looking those up long before he said anything about abortion. I mean, he was in a fucking race.
When he came out with that ad with the pickup truck chasing the minority kids, that's when the right would have dropped that picture.
Yeah. No, I think this was Oppo from the left, actually. But anyway, so Polly, you know about the picture, right?
I do.
Okay. So last night, well, at this point, Friday night at 8:30, he comes out on TV and tells everybody, that was me. I'm sorry. I'm not giving up my office.
Right.
12 o'clock on Saturday, 12 p.m. Saturday, around noon, he gives another press conference this time where he says, wait a minute, that wasn't me. However, wait, it gets better. However, there was a time when I put blackface on to be Michael Jackson in a dance competition.
So I'm assuming that somebody here, probably Jack, made a joke about him pre-covering his ass when more blackface photos come out.
Yeah, that's been a topic.
Yeah. Okay. I've banced with Jack enough to know the general stint of his comedy takes on things.
Just saying.
Well,
No, I don't think you're wrong at all. That's the way it seems. I mean, you know.
Tosa said, why would the left do it? He supports late-term abortions because what he supported there was extreme, very extreme, and actually supports what the right says that the left actually wants to do with abortion. So they want to shut him the fuck up.
They can't have the truth coming out this early when there's an election coming up.
No. And I mean, again, I want to call this, Polydub's law, like along the lines of Godwin's law. Don't ever attribute to ideology what can be explained easier through political motivation.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't actually want it named after me. We can call it the ranting monkey law for all I care, but not a lot of people do it enough. There's some cold political calculus going on with this guy. It's like, why wouldn't they support Kamala Harris? Because he's bad PR and they're distancing themselves from him. It's like they got an election coming up and a brutally important one for the DNC. The last thing they need to have is this guy fucking around. You know what I mean? Like, even if they all think so, don't say it. I hear you. You know what I mean? They don't need that.
Just to clarify the record, ranting monkey law is that stairs will try and murder you.
Well, that's science. Fuck, Jack, you made me lose my thought.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. No, you were talking about political calculation. Yeah, people do. They underestimate how dirty politics gets. They really do.
Yeah, and how politically motivated politicians are. I said before, and I say it again. It's in Polydub's law. It's the people that argue over things in pubs and bar rooms are more ideological than the people that you're arguing about in bar rooms.
Yes,
those people might have ideology, but it's like further down on the list as compared to getting reelected, not pissing off your constituents, et cetera, et cetera.
And this little fucker, I mean, they had the New York law. If just the New York law had been passed, that would have been the end of it. It would have been okay. This abortion law passed in New York, and it would just be nobody would talk about it the rest of the election. But then you had the Kathy Trans video from the Virginia legislature.
Mm-hmm.
And that just looked so bad. And then on top of that, the governor comes out and actually talks about how the baby could be born, and then you could decide whether or not to resuscitate it and what to do. And everybody's like, what? And they're like, we got to shut this dude down.
And flash ahead, right? Fox News hosts Democratic debates. CNN will host them. ABC will host them, right? And it'll be those people. Eventually, you're going to have the people from Fox asking the question of all of the candidates, do you support 5-second from birth abortions?
Yep.
Unless they can make this fucking thing go away, which is what you see happening now. It's not about PR right now. They think long-term. It's political calculus. And I can understand where they're coming from because, Monkey, can you imagine being in their shoes? Would you want to answer that question? I wouldn't.
No shit. And you have, I mean, the timing of this, if the Republicans had wanted, I mean, they would have used it during the election and taken the governorship. Why did they really don't gain anything from this? Because if he's drummed out of office, the lieutenant governor becomes the governor, and he's a liberal Democrat. Yeah. So the Republicans gain nothing from this. Welcome back, Poppy. Real quick, Dax, you are in charge for a moment.
Hey, Pop Tart, how the hell are you?
Shut the hell up, Polly.
Hey, no, you shut up. That's my ploy. Fuck you.
Pop Tart and I are good friends, and I haven't had a chance to talk to her in a long time.
That's why I told you to shut up, because she wants
really
to.
Because I'm happy to talk to her. It's been like what, like a month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, and we used to talk every single night, so it's.
I know. So you got. Well, Pop Tart's got a work schedule, and you know.
Well, yeah, and my grandma is very sick now, so I'm taking care of her during the days, and I'm going to work at night. And then on the weekends, on my days off, I just been asleep. Like the other day, I slept 20 hours. I didn't even know that was humanly possible, but I did it.
Did How is your grandma? Well, we should probably talk about this some other time.
No, I mean, I'm not shy about it. My grandma was just diagnosed with brain cancer 2 weeks ago. And it's not easy. The hardest part is my grandma's really great at denial. So she has this mindset of she ignores it, it'll go away. I'm like, no, that's the opposite of what cancer does. Let's not do that because she's missed 2 of her appointments now, so I got to get on her butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, cancer's a terrifying diagnosis.
Yeah, and I understand. Like it happened really fast too. It's the same one that I keep wanting to say John McCain had.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's really fast. So I think that's what hit her because like she started seeing flashing lights. So she went to the doctor because she was sick before with sepsis. And like they called her the next day saying, come back to the hospital immediately because they had done an MRI. And like in a 2-week period, we went from she saw some lights to she had brain surgery.
Real quick, Midnight in Exile. Northam was used to push late-term abortions and then tossed out like chums so Lieutenant Governor can take over. He is a patsy.
Yeah, that one surprised me. They wanted to see how that would float.
I'm kind of with you on that one, Jack. I think that's probably the actual case.
God, that would be cold politics, man.
Fucking lizard people.
Damn right. See, they're cold-blooded. That's
exactly
all right there in front of us. I don't know how many more lines you need to draw, Polly. Jesus.
Jack's converted me to the lizard people conspiracy.
Oh, yeah, man. It's easy to do. It's fun. Join us.
Jack, speaking of conspiracy theories,
okay,
we were enjoying some Dick Gregory conspiracy theories last night on YouTube. Do you know Dick Gregory, the comedian, political activist, et cetera, et cetera?
No.
He has Dick in his name.
Well, dude, you should hear it. It's great. Like, spring water's radioactive. You shouldn't drink it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Exercise, you got to do exercise. You got to go for a daily walk, but stairs don't count because your feet have to touch the ground for it to be part of your mental health as well. It was great. And I'm worried because I don't want to see the conspiracy theories disappear off YouTube, but that's a new thing that they've got their sights on, right?
Yeah, that's some of the most fun material on YouTube is conspiracy theories. And
I had 3 days of frivolity and laughter with the fucking JFK shit you sent me.
Yeah, wasn't that great?
It was fantastic. Apparently everybody wanted John Kennedy killed except John Kennedy.
Yeah, well, and the fact that Bush Sr. did it, and that's why Bush Jr. had to kill JFK Jr. And it's a whole thing, and it was the most complex thing I've ever seen. All that work put into nonsense. It was beautiful. I haven't had that much fun since Flat Earthers. And there's so much sexy material out there. The Hollow Earth, the reptilians. The reptilians are one of my personal favorites, of course.
You know what? I am a personal fan of reptilians as well because it is. But then I discovered cloud people.
Yeah, cloud people. Have you heard mud theory? Mud flood theory?
No.
Okay, you know how there's like mudslides and they ravage whole towns and stuff?
Sure.
There's a whole theory out there that those people are actually being abducted by aliens, and the flood is there to hide the fact that the bodies are missing.
Wait, so floods happen because aliens are kidnapping people and flooding shit?
No,
mudslides.
Yeah, mudslides, and there's like flooding in like parts of Texas and stuff where it's all muddy and shit, and all across the third world.
I know what mudslides are.
Yeah.
Real quick, guys, did we get the super chat here?
Did.
Thank you, Midnight in Exile. Okay. I see we moved on to conspiracy theories. Were we talking about YouTube getting rid of them?
Yeah.
That was I was
dicks.
Yeah, I was talking about how much fun conspiracy theories are and how it's sad because YouTube seems to have their reticles trained now. Do you guys know the details? You monkey, anyone? Like, are they just pushing them down in recommends, or are they actually trying to kick those channels?
I heard recommends only, but
they're not just recommend. Limited state. They're going to put them in the thing where
are they officially going to put them in limited state?
Yeah, that's what was in the blog post.
You mean that famous interstitial?
Well, see,
where like you have to have the link and you have to go there and you get a warning that you have to click yes, I'm an adult, etc. before you can see it.
Yep. No sharing directly. You'll have to copy and paste it if you want to share the link anywhere. Yeah.
God damn it.
You know what this is going to do? Spawn a shitload of conspiracy videos.
Right? The conspiracy theorists are going to say that YouTube is conspiring against them.
Yeah, the cloud
they kind
people.
of are.
They're running YouTube.
Okay.
The cloud
Polly, Daniel and me both want to know, what the fuck are cloud people?
Okay, cloud people are...
Oh, don't you know? Educate yourself. It's not our job.
They're literally people that live in the clouds, all jokes aside. Well, no,
That's just it. It's just they're basically angels.
Yeah, Poppy, don't overthink it. Just, you're putting way too much in. The angels are a separate warring faction.
Oh, okay.
And they are all conspiring to oppress us through various nefarious means. I mean, the Deros that live in the hollow earth have their agenda. Rip Dulce base, 1963. And then you got the reptilians who have their own agenda, and you've got your cloud people, you got your mud flood people, you got your aliens, you got your flat earthers, you got your moon landing fake.
You know, I got some pills I could share that really helps with this kind of stuff.
It's just like, I love the detail of first international relations study course I took in grad school. On the first day, the professor said, because theory is great, especially poli-sci theory and international relations theory. But a theory that has within it, incorporated into it, an explanation to refute any criticisms of it. Does anybody know what that's called? And like the 15 people in the seminar were like, no, assuming there was some high name. It's a conspiracy theory. And I'm like, oh, that would be the definition of a conspiracy theory. Because if you discount the existence of the Illuminati, you're part of it.
Yeah, clearly that guy was not hired by the Bilderberg Group.
Do you know what I mean? The Trilateral Commission knows not what this man speaks of.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The next meeting at the Bohemian Grove, I'm sure Alex Jones will be there to watch for us and spy.
There is the dead giveaway, and that man was brilliant for putting it in that way. Any theory that somebody presents to you, even if it's cloud people or flat earthers, or it's something you hear on YouTube, like from somebody who claims to be a rational person, if it has built into it a way of dismissing or explaining any criticisms of it, that means you're listening to a conspiracy theory. White privilege, anyone?
Well, I mean, there are conspiracy theories that did come out to be true. So, I mean, not all conspiracy theories are, just nuts, like crazy ass people.
Spoken like a sympathizer of Dr. Mudd and his allegiance to the assassination of Abraham Lincoln.
Jack, I will lick your face. But
I don't know. You're married. I don't think we should be doing that.
There literally was a conspiracy to assassinate Lincoln, but that's not the same as a conspiracy theory that without evidence.
Oh, right. You have not gone down the right rabbit holes, my friend. You see, obviously, John Wilkes Booth was set up. That is a conspiracy theory that's out there.
There is one, yeah.
I haven't heard that one. I got to go looking for that. I'm going to make a note.
You better do it before they take every fun thing off the internet.
What are you going to miss the most off of YouTube, guys? Like a year from now, because you've heard me say before, YouTube a year ago does not look like it doesn't. Monkey won't be gone. He'll be here
with the shit he says.
She's not wrong. I mean, I'm not looking for it. It's not something I try to get in trouble, but yeah, there's times it's like
he's pushing it. He pushes it.
Do you want to hear my guess? What'll be the end of you, Monkey? If anything, is what I mean to say.
Sure. What's that?
When you go down, if you end up in the spot that Sinatra's in, you piss off somebody from a group, a fandom, like that. You develop enemies that are interested in flagging. That's the only thing I can see actually bringing you down.
I could see that happening. It's one of the reasons I avoid certain groups.
Like who? I'm curious.
I don't talk about pedos.
Okay.
Because believe it or not, guys, pedos that's probably who gives Sinatra so much trouble.
What do they call themselves? What's their acronym?
Minor attracted.
You have the minor attracted people, but there's what's the group that Sinatra and them went after?
Heart's
Progress.
Yeah.
Because like for all the shit with me and the vegans, and vegans can be crazy. I'm not saying they're not,
Right.
but they'll at least let you still have your say. They just want to tell you what an asshole you are for having it and how much you suck
And how immoral you are. And yeah.
right. Yeah, the groups that are likely to get you to flag you, you have your alt-righters will do it in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Your far lefties will do it in a heartbeat. And I'm not talking like Christy Winters far left. I'm talking out there fuckers.
You mean like what, commie far leftists? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flag you for what? Hate speech, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Whatever they can get you for. You have your child molesters. For some reason, they are they have a lot of pull on YouTube. YouTube, you want to figure that shit out?
Right. Oof.
I know we're getting rid of conspiracy theorists, but
that's not a conspiracy. That is factual.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, they're getting rid of conspiracy theorists, but if you go on YouTube and look up some shit, there's some messed up shit. Sorry.
I know it doesn't sound likely, but Jack Inquisitor and I tread some odd corners with Anti-Comicsgate because that's what they call you, as a racist and a sexist, and then this
those kind of fuckers.
You know, it's like, but it's about comics, and I'm like, I know you wouldn't think, but holy shit, they're willing to drag like Tug's child into it. Monkey, if you knew the things that they're willing to say about that Umbrella guy's child.
Yeah, 5-year-old.
Yeah, a 5-year-old girl. She's adorable. She comes on stream like Grand Monkey, you know what I mean? Like that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And they call her out like by name. It's fucking like she's a kid. What are you doing, guys?
Lesser Logic says must be a lot of them. Not really. If you ever seen how these campaigns work, and I'm trying to remember where I think it was actually a Medicare video where he got flagged for the diaper fuckers.
Yeah, and the bronies, and
it doesn't have to be that many. It can be 5-10 people, but what they do is they mass flag. So they will hit you with their main 10 accounts, and then they have each of them has like 10 accounts, and they take all of them, they sign in, and they hit you all at once. And that's what these fucking assholes do.
And by the way, Jack, I will defend some of the bronies because Willow's one.
Yeah, but a lot of them.
Brony. She's a chick.
Well, they call themselves Pegasisters, but they're part of the bronies. Okay.
They're not a brony. You can't be a brony without a dick.
You have to be creepy, a little smelly, and
now,
I'm gonna call your boy Pat.
I'm not gonna say that to your boy Pat.
No, but he's like the normal brony. That's not the people that do this sort of thing. It's the extremes.
Yeah, cloppers I won't defend. Those are the ones who are sexually attracted to the My Little Ponies, and they're gross.
But yeah, these people, there's not necessarily a lot of them. It's just there's a hardcore group that if you say flat earthers are another one, man, they will flag the fuck out of you.
Oh yeah,
really?
Oh yeah,
yeah. They have no sense of humor about themselves.
You know, I don't get why people take flat earthers so seriously, like meaning in the need to refute them. It's like you actually created this video showing math and how latitude works and stuff, and like I can't believe you did that.
See, you're missing it again, Polly. Even the ones who do it where they're like, here's the actual science. It is just to fuck with these guys. It's because it's funny.
Yeah, watch Sir Six videos.
Oh, Sir Stick is amazing.
Yeah, he is. But I mean, you think the guys that are doing it deadly seriously are in themselves that there's humor underlaying it? I don't think Armored Skeptic's videos are meant as humorous. I think they're meant
right.
as actual
He's not funny at all.
No.
I think he actually tries to be funny. He just sucks at it.
Yeah, but trying and being a miserable failure is one thing. And then trying and actually being funny, people know when they're funny most of the time because their friends are like, "Dude, you're not funny. Stop it." If you're some sad, chubby loser who thinks everybody's a clone of him, then that's a different story.
You know what, Polly? To your point, yeah, there are probably some of them. The skeptic crowd, the former atheists who go in on this because they think they can make the logical argument and win. You might be right. You might be right on them. Most of the ones I watch, their people are just fucking with them because it's funny as shit. Even when they're doing
it, funny. I mean,
it is.
You know who comes to mind is what's his name? The self-promoting duplicitous scumbag physicist who appears in every social media and late night talk show he can. What's his name?
Bill
I think
Nye?
Polly likes him.
Bill Nye, the science guy?
No, but he would count. He's
That
Neil
black dude.
deGrasse Tyson?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
There you go.
He spends an odd amount of time.
Why didn't you say the
black?
black guy?
I did. I said, "Oh, that black guy."
Well, I don't know. His pompousness, the fucking his veiled atheism, his talking way outside of his fucking league. Like, I mean, on things that have nothing to do with his educational
That
background.
sounds like half
The
the people
black
on
physicist.
TV.
The black physicist, because he's the only one.
He is. Look up
On
black
TV.
physicist and see what pops up.
I'm sorry. I know a lot of people respect Neil deGrasse Tyson. I find the guy to be just a pathetic self-promoter who has contributed very little to the body of knowledge regarding science.
I used
You're
to
not
go to-
wrong.
I went to sleep to his TV shows, but that's about it.
But he can be funny at times, and I do enjoy that. But most of the time, I find him to be a windbag.
And when I say talk outside of his circle, I find that odd, the kind of credibility that people in certain groups have, where it's like, Sam Harris, for example, will start talking about ethics and so on and so forth. It's like, yeah, but he's a doctor. And it's like, yeah, but he's more than that. If you look at his bachelor degree, he focused on ethics and philosophy. That's what he does. So he's speaking to that. You get Neil deGrasse Tyson sitting here talking about, here's the proof that God doesn't exist. And it's like, this is way outside of the fucking physics you do. And people are like, yeah, but he's a smart guy. And I'm like, okay, he's a smart guy. Would you take financial advice from him? And
Yes.
No.
Wait.
You would? You'd take financial advice from Neil deGrasse Tyson.
You said talk
Yes.
outside of his circle, right?
Well,
He's got money.
his field is what I mean to say.
Oh, I thought you were just being a Globus shill.
Oh God, Jack.
No, I wouldn't take. There's a lot of people that get this credit to them because Bill Nye is one of those people. People treat him like he is the smartest man on the fucking planet.
That's a better example than Neil.
He's an
deGrasse
actor.
Tyson. Yeah, he's an actor. He's a mechanical engineer by trade.
Mechanical engineer, yeah.
And people are like, oh, well, he's a really smart guy. And it's like, but why are you taking his advice on how many genders there are now? Do you know what I mean?
He had a Mr. Wizard show.
Yeah.
Mr. Wizard was better.
Mr. Wizard was better.
I just remembered that song dance thing on his show.
Oh,
and
that
I'm
thing
sad.
was so horrible.
That was traumatizing.
And then the ice cream
Monkey,
cartoon.
I had not thought about that in months. Why did you?
I think the ice cream cartoon is worse than the other one is. I really
know,
do.
Because it's like it's the opposite of trying to make people straight. It's like everybody should be gay. It's like, well, I'm not.
It's
okay?
actually pushing the idea that you can change your sexual orientation.
Yeah, well, conversion works in one way, but not the other. So that's how it works.
That
It's
was
not hypocrisy.
worse.
Yeah, it's not hypocrisy when they do it.
I just got to say, Prospero nailed it. What's wrong with Sam Harris? He's a presuppositionalist. That's exactly what he is. Yes.
Look, Sam,
here's my supposition, and now we're going to run forward on it as if everybody has accepted this as the case.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I would like to know why we're deplaneting Pluto. Right? We don't know how Pluto identifies.
That's
how
a good
dare
thing.
we assume it's planetoid mass?
You should bring that up.
Just because Jupiter's fat and all body positive doesn't mean skinny little Pluto's got to suffer for it. This is bullshit.
Yeah, we could say Pluto is like the little person of the planets.
Yeah, because it's a supposed dwarf planet.
Exactly.
Yeah, dwarf, that's offensive. Thank you. It's a little planet.
Okay, dwarf is actually the medical term. Midget is the offensive
No,
one.
midget's the technical term.
Midget is the technical term. Peter asked, "Who is Sam Harris?"
Yeah, I don't know either.
I know who he
How would you
is.
describe him? I'm curious.
He's a blowhard atheist who fellatiates himself by talking slowly a lot.
And has a very odd fixation on Donald Trump and loses all rationality when speaking about the man.
Yes, yeah. You know what? That's look him up on YouTube. He's all over the place. Shit,
He's one of the new four horsemen. Boo! Remember that?
Well,
yeah.
Is he on the team with Armored Skeptic?
That was one of the cringiest moments of the skeptic.
He's probably an Armored Skeptic clone, if you know what I'm saying.
Harris wants so bad to be the most rational person in the room all the time, and he fails at it all the time.
And it's not that I don't find myself agreeing with different
Sure.
things that he says, but to give you an example of the kind of media personality he is, like it's podcasting and it's appearances on shows and it's publishing barely scientific, barely thought out philosophical works as popular editions, meaning things you buy at an airport to read on the plane. When I say popular edition, to give you an example of what I mean, he's one of Bill Maher's favorite guests.
Yeah, he is.
And like that should tell you everything you need to know about the kind of smarm this man radiates. It's
not.
Vortex. Hang on. Vortex says Harris wants to be Dawkins. That's not who he wants to be. He wants to. What the hell was his name? Hitchens. He desperately wants to be Hitchens.
You think he's the rhetorician that Hitchens was, or
I think he wants to be.
Gotcha.
And I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I interrupted you. I do it a lot. Sorry.
That's all right. That's what this show is. This isn't. Scribe's not here. We can interrupt each other.
Monkus interruptus in the morning.
That's right.
Yeah. I think that Harris sounds good superficially when you first start listening to him. But the more you get into it, the more you see a lot of it is just the same thing repackaged, or it's just a certain level of smug, and it starts to get to you after a while. So you move on to Dawkins or somebody else.
Midnight in Exile says Harris doesn't have half a ball that Hitchens has. You're right, and that's why he can't be him, even though he so desperately wants to be.
And Hitchens, even though like let's say I disagree with him on theism, which I do, God, the man's gift with words, Hitchens.
Oh, he was great to listen to. Man.
Yeah, he absolutely was. And so it's like I can listen to him without being
proud.
Oh yeah. Do you remember him on Bill Maher when the audience turned on him and he kept flipping them the bird? Fuck, that was great.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was great. And it was over a point that he didn't want to make the biggest deal in the world out of. It was just George W. Bush, they started joking and said, oh, he's stupid. And he goes, oh, come on. That's the lazy person's joke. We know he's not stupid. What? Because he's got the Texas accent. We know what his IQ is. He's not a dumb man. That's what lazy people say to get a cheap laugh out of an audience when the applause sign goes on.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, you just said that right in front of that very audience. And the audience starts booing. Hitchens turns and fucking fingers him. Like,
yep,
you're the man.
Prospero says Hitchens wasn't a logician. I know that. I'm not talking that he wanted to have the same education. He wants to be revered the way Hitchens was. He wants to be seen as him. And you can actually see this on some of the Bill Maher appearances. He tries, or anywhere he goes, he tries to be the rational, logical one. And which is what Hitchens really was most of the time. It was hard to argue his points because they were thought out very well. And Sam is far too,
well,
for lack of a better term, emotional about his arguments.
I will say this of Hitchens, and again, this is not a criticism. It's just there was more sophistry than there was reason with Hitchens.
Well, do you think that was, I mean,
and I don't know,
or how he was selling it to the audience?
But that is the essence of sophistry, is salesmanship. It's arguing to be convincing, not to be right. He was very convincing and extremely good at what he did, and that's why he's a great rhetorician. He understands the skills of rhetoric. He understands persuasiveness and how it works. And yeah, he was trying to convince the audience. So did he really reason it out, or did he reason out how to be persuasive? Not the same thing, you know?
Prospero says Sam argues from emotion, not logic. Ranting Monkey, you said that as I was typing. Yeah, I've just watched Sam. I think Sam came on my radar about the time he did for a lot of people. Was on the Bill Maher episode. I'd heard his name before, but he was on the Bill Maher episode with Ben Affleck, and they had the Muslim argument.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, it's 4/22. That's my birthday. Yeah. Anyway, yes, I am that conceited. When I see 4/22, I stop and celebrate.
Doxed.
Everybody knows my birthday, or they should, and they should celebrate it.
I know.
Yeah, fuck with my ego. See how you do.
But it had to be Affleck being guilty, white hand wringing Affleck, didn't it? Because that was a great clip, and Affleck deserved to get bombed on for what he said. And Harris might have been not harsh toned, but harsh in his word choice when he was talking to him, but deservedly so. That's gross. That's racist. Those were his retorts to criticism of Islam in terms of cultural motivations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was all Harris was saying there. And, Ben Affleck has to be the whitest white knight in the room. You know it.
But that it was a very good clip for Harris, and he was known in academic circles and in some political circles, but that one put him on the map for a lot of people because that was all over the fucking place. I mean, news stations were covering how Ben Affleck stood up for the Muslims against Maher and Harris. And since then, I've been watching it, and like you, it's not that I disagree with him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there are so many times this motherfucker goes into emotion and just leaves reason behind.
That's like the clip that didn't get nearly the play that it should have, but it did get a lot, is when he's talking about Donald Trump, and he said literally anybody else would be a better choice for president than this man. And he goes, and I want you to understand what I'm saying here. That's not a hyperbole or anything. I mean, literally any random chosen person in the street. And it's like, really? The schizophrenic guy with personality dissociative disorder? You know what I mean? That would be a better choice. Like, and Sam's like
down the street. Come on,
like the homeless guy banging the badger.
Yeah, and it's like, because you know, at least blah blah blah. And he went on to make this argument for like 20 minutes straight, and it's like, Sam, you've lost the plot, buddy. It's come on.
Yeah, and I think his opinion on Trump and the fact that he can't keep his fucking mouth shut about it is actually hurting him a lot. Because the kind of people who've been drawn to him also are often drawn to Trump too, and then they see something like that. Literally anyone else, like, okay, I can see you saying there's a lot better politicians, there's a lot better people who could have been president, but literally and fucking stressing that point, stressing that he means literally anyone. The homeless guy that helped rip off a whole bunch of people on GoFundMe, he'd be better.
And it speaks a lot to a larger issue that is at work, like how that clip worked. Okay, well, how did that clip go viral, and why did it go viral? And the way that promotion from media by like-minded people, not conspiratorially, just a bunch of people who think the same way. Here's Sam Harris. He's now our poster boy. Why? Because he's secular as fuck to the point of being an atheist. He's absolutely pro-choice because as a hardcore materialist, he's a staunch materialist. You know, human life is completely defined by how we choose to define it for the moment. So that doesn't matter. He hates Donald Trump. So, and then is neurosurgeon Dr. Ben Harris, or Dr. Sam Harris. Notice somebody like Dr. Ben, help me out here.
Carson,
pediatric surgeon, none of that regard. Why? Well, that tells you a lot about how promotion amongst like-minded media people works. You know, Ben Carson was called every name in the book. That guy was called a coon so many times, I started to feel embarrassed for him, and I wasn't even the target of it. It's like, what are you talking about? This guy came up from nothing, literally. This should be the poster boy of the American dream, et cetera, et cetera. But he's not, because wrong think, you know.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we got a little bit of racism, and we talked about Bill Maher. Let's put those two things together. Bill Maher accused of making fried chicken joke to black Republican congressman. Did you guys hear about this?
Hold on. No. My headphones kind of clipped out. I heard fried chicken. What?
Bill Maher accused of making fried chicken joke to black Republican congressman.
Bill really does think he's down. He really does think he's got the ghetto pass, doesn't he?
He does.
Did he approve this with Ice Cube first?
I don't think he did.
As a quick side point, just sorry, Monkey, real quick, because Prospero was with the thing. John Stuart Mill would gut Sam Harris. I don't know Prospero or anybody else. If you read Sam Harris's book where he tries to construct a moral, ethical basis for having law and a system of jurisprudence based on ethics that does not have any kind of objective morality in it, i.e. God or some kind of creator being, it is nothing but John Stuart Mill. He just ripped the guy off and repackaged it in a popular edition. He's a fucking plagiarist. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Okay, this is what happened. What's his name? Something Hurd. Will Hurd from Texas. Maher asked him why he was a Republican. He says, I'm a Republican because I believe in limited government. Maher responds, I'm asking you why you're Republican, because they're not good at debt. That was the big thing. You said limited government. They don't do that. What's in it for you? What is in it, the Republican Party for you? You were in the CIA. Hurd responded, I was in the CIA for almost a decade. I was the dude in back alleys at 4 o'clock in the morning collecting intelligence on threats to the homeland.
Is that what they call it now?
To which Marr responded, that's where you'd collect it, huh? Wow. By the Popeyes chicken?
Wow.
That was pretty tasteless.
Okay, I don't like Bill Maher, and I'm not trying to defend him. Like, what happens if he said by the Red Lobster? He was cracking a joke at this guy's credibility as an intelligence officer.
No, I don't think that's exactly what he was doing.
You know what? That's, yeah, exactly. Look, he could have said behind the McDonald's, behind the 7-Eleven.
Behind the crack house. Behind
the crack house would have gone better.
He went straight to Popeye's fucking chicken. Now, look, it's a joke. I get that it's a joke, and I don't have a problem with the joke. But let's not pretend there wasn't a racial element to that joke.
Like, how many times is this guy going to do this? Like, that's what I meant about the ghetto pass remark.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, Bill, you're an old Jewish man who's had a number of black girlfriends that don't give you credibility to do certain things that you seem to think that it does.
Nah, man, he ghetto, man. He can say what he wants.
Apparently.
I think he gets one more pass every time he smooths his face out.
Well, I don't know, man. That wind tunnel already looks like it's set at 60 mph.
I'm pretty sure he's had a few facelifts. I'd love to see what he would look like without him, because he'd start looking all wrinkly. Like, who was that? The Blasey Ford.
If he didn't have his plastic surgery, he would look like one of those vaginas with the lips too big.
Ooh. That's a hell of a mental image.
he would look like that. He would look like puss face. No, I really don't have a problem with that joke. I do have a problem with people. That's not racist. Like, come on, man. I don't think that makes him racist for me. You can make jokes like that without being racist, for fuck's sake. But how does this guy keep fucking stepping in it? Yeah. Does he honestly believe he has a black pass, or do you think that because come on, he's no longer calling himself a libertarian, he's a liberal now. Mm-hmm. He's already been through this with the house nigger joke.
Yep.
But now he's gonna do it again.
Yeah. And I still argue, like, that was absolutely meant as a joke. It was just a complete fucking fail and a bad audience read and all of the mistakes a comedian can make. But it was clearly
it was a good joke. I don't care what anybody says. That was a good joke. We'll have you come work the fields. No, I'm out. I mean, come on. That was funny.
Now, to be fair, Bill Maher's probably kind of dumb. Because most of his jokes are teleprompter type jokes.
Bill Maher is actually quite intelligent. That's the part that gets me. If you
can be intelligent and still be a dumbass.
The ability to turn a phrase and be quick-witted does not equal, like, because we can mean a lot of different things by intelligence and smarts and stuff like, you know what I mean? His analytic ability is wanting in a huge way. His political views and the scope of his political thought, like meaning over a long time, is, very, very wanting. Just because he can turn a quick phrase, he's got the skills of a comedian. He's a fast thinker, quick on his feet. What's that got to do with being smart and having good analysis of a situation?
Well, this is something people don't realize about a lot of politicians. A lot of comedians, they're actually very well educated. And Bill's another one of those. But if you've ever seen him when he's not on his show, when he goes somewhere to give a talk somewhere, or there's I don't know what it is. I've just seen many of them. There's a thing that they do at some English college where they bring in people and they usually talk about free speech or something big like that. If you actually watch Bill talk on these things, it's like, how in the fuck are you a Democrat? Because
he didn't show up at the Cambridge debates, did he? Or is that what you're talking about?
No, I don't think it was the Cambridge debate. I'll have to find it for you and send it to you. But he's actually a smart guy. He really is. Okay, let me rephrase that. He's an educated man. But he just keeps making gaffes. That's his problem. He keeps putting his fucking dick in his mouth.
How much smarter
he can't get his foot up there.
How much smarter and educated do you think you would appear, Monkey, if you had a 24 posse person writing and researching for you?
Well, see, that's the thing. When he's the talks I'm Oxford, thank you, Prospero. This isn't when he's got his show behind him. This is when it's him out there discussing things with people who are asking him questions. There's not a team behind him making a joke for him. It's him actually.
The topics are a hell of a lot more constrained. Lucky for him.
Yeah,
Well, I think he's gotten complacent.
That might be true. But it's the same thing with like Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is an intelligent man. He's actually a very well-read, very intelligent man. I disagree with him on politics a lot. But you have comedians like that who are very well educated. And yeah, a lot of times they end up on a TV show where they end up with, yeah, you're right, a whole bunch of liberal fucking writers making the cheapest jokes possible. And I think Mar's a definite example of that. If you go back and watch like the early politically incorrect, there was some great stuff on there. And then he just slowly became more liberal until we have the Mar we have now.
Which raises the question. I'm curious. Like he's one of the people that I want to sit down for coffee or whatever the fuck with and not talk about politics or anything else. Just
sure.
Find out, like, are you actually like this in real life, or is this your shtick? Because I could believe that being the smarmy fucking prick is just his shtick, but I could also see it's been his shtick for so long, he conditioned himself into being that way.
I could see him being that way, especially as long as he's been around and the adulation he's gotten for being that way. Yeah, I can see him just adopting that as his real personality. Whether it was before or not, yeah. I bet if you sat down, he would just be the smartest prick on the block. Yeah, Popeye's chicken, you dumb motherfucker. And could he go to a more racist chicken place? I mean, I guess he could have went with Church's because those are like only in the darkest of black neighborhoods.
I like Church's.
I'm just saying.
Better than KFC.
Well, KFC is the bomb. Fuck y'all.
I know you've got this weird delusion, Monkey. Don't worry. KFC will still pay you your advertising fee. It's fine.
KFC is awesome. And if they want me to shill their shit for money, I will do so because I am a customer.
Yeah, you're going to need that money to clean out your arteries from all the lard you've been eating that is shaped like chicken. Gross.
Look, man, my arteries are just fine. My blood pressure was awesome when I went to the doctor for my ear.
You know what
that's where it's at.
You know what I just found out? That there's certain KFC locations that are buffets.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those. We don't have one here. I want that though.
I got a great picture that was taken in Japan of a KFC Colonel Sanders in samurai armor. I'll have to dig that out and show you guys. It's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, I would love to go there and just make a mound of coleslaw on my plate that they would actually kick me out for.
See, I think about that whenever I hear someone talk about like how much they love KFC, and it's like, yeah, it's a good thing these buffets aren't everywhere. Can you imagine Monkey, for you walking up and it's just a giant fucking pile of drumsticks that they just keep filling up, and you just, as many as you want, keep eating.
Well, I only eat breasts, but I get your point.
Oh, really? That's you don't eat anything else? None of the.
I don't like dark meat. I don't like the texture of it.
That's racist.
Sounded racist to me.
You said it, not me. Don't
you and me behind a Popeyes?
I don't have any weed or national secrets.
KFC has mad potato and gravy too. Oh man, KFC gravy is awesome. I don't know how they make it. I don't want to know. I don't care what's in it. It is amazing.
Plus, the market gravy is pretty good.
It's brown salt sauce from KFC.
Shut up. Don't make me kick you.
How did Monkey get heart disease? Well, he went to KFC a lot.
We actually don't go very often because KFC is kind of expensive if you have a big family.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. You get that full picnic meal. Yeah, it's not cheap. Yeah.
Especially when so many of us don't like dark meat.
So your whole family's racist?
No. Just a couple of us.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how you can. It's dark meat is so greasy.
See, I like dark meat. But like it works out because Chris will only eat the white meat and I only eat the dark meat, so it works out fine.
No, it's just too greasy for me. I'm good. You follow the Krasensteins, right, Polly?
That would be one way of describing it, I guess. Yes, I do.
Did you see they are pushing the idea that Russia is campaigning for Tulsi Gabbard?
Yes.
Russia appears to begin propaganda campaign in favor of Tulsi Gabbard.
So we haven't been able to identify quite yet, Monkey, who the mainstream media has selected as their candidate they're going to attempt to drag across the line. But I think we have identified who they don't want.
Yes, absolutely. Like, not this bitch.
The amount of trash I've seen heaped at that woman, like, and she's like, you know, when you're thinking, wow, she'd make a good Democratic candidate, and there's all this shit coming down on her.
Yep. The Russians, guys. It's the Russians.
Like, she's the reasonable one. She's the one with military experience. This is a competent woman. This is a take charge person with actual leadership. She didn't, pardon my language, ladies, fuck her way into the first 3 jobs she had. Just saying.
You're not suggesting Kamala Harris is a whore.
Your words, not mine, although I may or may not agree with you.
You heard it here first. Kamala Harris is a whore.
Well, what I mean, how does this not blow away her credibility, even with people that were not super strong supporters, but people that were like, oh, look at this Kamala Harris? How does that not destroy your credibility with these people? They were kind of like, you know, oh, she's interesting.
You know why?
I vote for her.
Because she was asking for it.
And I mean,
she literally was. She's like, give me that dick.
I was talking about this in Discord the other night. What's funny about it is the longer you think about it from like every angle, there's no way out, right? Because it's like, oh, well, that was, you know, he was in charge of me, so he had power. No, you weren't his employee. Oh, well, you know, systematic racism. No, you're both black. Oh, well, hashtag me too. He took advantage. No, you were his willing partner, and you admit that when you were 29 and he was 60 and he was married. So, and you knew that and you didn't care. And it's like, there's no way out of this. And it's like, well, where did all this information come from? Must be the Russians who did it. No, it was the guy himself who said it. And then a whole bunch of people backed him up.
She just liked his dick, man.
Like, there's no way out of this for her. So the goal, of course, is silence. You know, just dismissal articles, which I read, where it's like, oh, and this is the first we're seeing from the right. Moving on. You know?
Yeah.
Peter,
sorry about that. I think we're going to see a lot of that as an excuse as this primary gets underway, that any criticism of these candidates, oh, it's the right doing it. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's the left doing it because they're each trying to get that top spot, you dumbasses. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up, but first I have to share this. CBC London tweeted out, "You're invited to try on the hijab for World Hijab Day." And James Wood replied, "Just the hijab or the complimentary beatings as well?"
Oh,
Spicy. He's not wrong. I mean, well, I guess it's when you take it off, you get the beating. And jail. Kamala Harris, Wakanda forever. Indeed. Chat, guys, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you for the super chats and hanging out with us. You guys are amazing, and I love you. And I don't know what I would do without you. Jack, I see you're already shilling over there. Is there something you'd like to shill today?
I just threw an article in the chat about how John Quincy Adams once authorized an expedition to the Hollow Earth.
Nice.
Like, legitimately, it's Smithsonian article, not some crackpot stuff.
I'm the fucking Smithsonian. Okay. Dax, is there anything you'd like to shill today?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you for singing that. Sorry, that's why we're ending, guys. I'm getting really fucking tired. Thank you for singing that.
Mhm.
Polly, is there anything you'd like to shill?
Yes, there is. But before I do, Extinction Ritual saying Rachel Maddow is one weird dude. You made me laugh. Thank you. There's the link to my channel with the new short URL I'm happy about. Come on by to find Inquisitor and Jack and myself talk about comics and all things in and around them and related. And there's plenty to talk about after the debate that happened today. So yeah, check out this Wednesday. We'll be happy to have you there.
And Poppy, anything you'd like to show?
Tomorrow night is my night on Minions of the Zoo. We start at 10:30 Central, and I actually have a subject for tomorrow, which is very unusual for me. I usually just wing it. We're going to be talking about parenting today and schooling and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a boring parent stream, but come watch anyways, because I may do something stupid, and I do talk way more on my own stream than on here.
Well, there you go. And wait, is this Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm supposed to be over with Satsu on 2 Cents Plus playing 7 Days to Die, but that might not happen. I don't really care about who wins the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl for us is usually we treat it as a kind of a holiday around here. So stay tuned to Twitter to find out if we're going to do that. But if we do, it'll be 7 p.m. It's our long night. We go a long time, usually 4, 5, 6 hours. So check it out. It's a lot of fun. And if not, we'll see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. on Satsu 2 Cents for Lords of the Night. Guys, thanks for coming. Be careful behind the Popeyes, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.